we talked whether jhana, according to the Eightfold Noble Path, I explained why jhana is important, isn't it? I say it's very important. But then again, I sent you an email with different views of different masters. Did you get that? Arnold, did you get that? No. Okay, I have a separate, those who didn't receive that, I have printed 8 copies. That's another 5 papers. So you can go through what Ajahn Chah said, you can go through what the Mahasi Sayadaw said, you can go through what Ajahn Dhammadharo said, whether jhana is important. When it comes to Ajahn Brahm, he will emphasize on jhana is important. When it comes to Pauk Sayadaw, he will never go out of jhana, and he will never say no Kanika Samadhi or momentary Samadhi is enough for meditation. He is also a firm believer in jhana. So what I understood was, when I was in Myanmar, I also had this problem. Why this, when it comes to Samma Samadhi, why jhana is difficult? Please understand, when Buddha delivered the technique, first of all, he didn't give these to doctors, lawyers, accountants, engineers. So in a monastic setting, for monks to attain jhana is not a big deal, because the Patimokkha is formulated to discipline a monk to sit down and meditate and get into jhana. But we all are not like that nowadays. In a monastic setting, if you cannot attain jhana, you go to a master and ask, Bhante, we are not getting there, we are not getting the samadhi, we are not getting, samadhi is there, we are not getting the nimitta, we are not getting into jhana. The master will always say, you have to look into your sila, look into your sila, look into your sila, where you are doing it wrong. So I had a junior monk who was one of my preceptors back then. I asked, how do we look into our sila? Then he told, we have 227 precepts. Unless you keep 227 perfectly, you will not attain jhana according to him. So Buddha has formulated a way for monks to attain jhana. So when he gave Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, Mahasatipatthana Sutta, it was not for lay people. In the beginning, Dhamma was never for ordinary lay people. It was for ordained monastics. Now, after 2600 years, the 18th century, 19th century, 20th century masters, they usually work with lay people. So they had to give this in a way that applies to both monastics and lay people. So it has formulated in a way. So please understand, jhana is very much there. Jhana should be attained if possible, but now there is a formula where you don't 100% need to attain jhana, but even with the little samadhi that you have, you can carry on with vipassana, samatha or vipassana. So I have put Ajahn Chah's view there when he was asked whether jhana is important. He says, no, jhana is not that important. But if it comes to you, it's okay, because with jhana you tend to play. Honestly, when you attain jhana, because it's so blissful, monks don't want to transform jhana into vipassana. At Pauk also, when you attain jhana, they are happy, then we can select whether we go into vipassana or we go to higher masters and practice abhinya, like Dibba Chakku, to see past lives, clairvoyance. Around 60-50% of monks would take for kammatthana to look into past lives and things like that. Hardly anybody, I'm not saying, but not that concerned of doing vipassana. So that's why Ajahn Chah is saying, when you have jhana, you might play with it and try to understand. There's a nice simile down there. What does he say? Understand whether you are a boy or a man. Eh? So understand, just as you know, the limitations of children versus grown men. Yes. So now let's say we don't have the nimitta. If the nimitta is there, now that is a sign that we are going into jhana. We can be happy about it. But no, not everybody gets nimitta. Even if the nimitta is black, dark in color, then again there's no way that we can understand whether the nimitta is not there. Since you are not taking interview with a meditation monk, you are trying to realize for yourself whether the nimitta is there or not. So how do we know we are in jhana? What is the other way? Very hard, no? Because I don't know, maybe you have attained jhana, but you cannot remember. Yeah. Yeah. What is the characteristics of jhana?
The sense is not present, so you can't realize.
Sorry, Anwar?
The sense is not present.
Yeah, that when the nimitta was there, we talked about that. When the senses are not there, what is the feature of that? We talk when the senses are not there, we don't have sensual pleasure. What is the word for that? Kama chanda. When you start with kama chanda, what are the other four things? Vyapada, tīna midu, uddhacca kukucca, vicikicca. What do you call these five things? Five pancha nivana, the five hindrances. When you are entering jhana, there will be no five hindrances. Instead of what is going to be there? In Visuddhimagga, they say, leaving aside five things, you take up another five. You take the five jhana factors. Okay? Now, although we say these five jhana factors correlates between the five hindrances I have given. In other words, one-to-one correspondence between the hindrance and the jhana factor. Now, applied thought. What is the Pali term for applied thought? Vitakka. Vitakka goes against sloth and torpor. Sloth and torpor is what? Tīna midda. Sustained thought, what is sustained thought? Vichara. Vichara goes against doubt. Rapture? Pīti. Goes against vyapada. Happiness? Sukha goes against uddhacca kukucca. And one-pointedness. Ekaggata will go against. So at the end of the day, the same thing, although we say we don't have five hindrances, instead of the five jhana factors, when you say the jhana factors are there with you, it means ultimately the hindrances are not there. When you ultimately say the hindrances are not with me, there is no vacuum, there are the jhana factors. So last week, I gave 6 dhammas called paripanta dhammas that will break your samadhi. So I have given the reference to that from Visuddhimagga, where it's mentioned, mind affected through lust by greed for varied objective fields, that you can read later. Okay. Now we go. Now please remember, twofold process of development will lead to the attainment of jhana. What is the first one? On the side of states obstructive to it. If we are not attaining jhana, it's because of the five hindrances. So we need to think of a way how to get rid of five hindrances. What are the techniques that we are using to get rid of five hindrances? We cannot jog and attain jhana, no? Yeah, we are meditating, we are using ānāpānasati, samatha meditation to attain jhana in this case. And on the side of the second, on the side of that composes. What is composing a jhana? The jhana factors. Do you understand? These are the two things that you have to remember when talking about jhana. Now, since we have come to jhana, now we came to jhana. Don't forget, this is not from last week to this week. You have to remember past 9 classes, step by step, looking at to breath by breath. Now we have come to this jhana level. So those who are new, they might wonder how first day you come to a meditation class, how can you go into jhana? No, for past 9 weeks, we came here step by step. Now we have theoretically come to jhana. Practically, I don't know. Nobody talks with me except one person came that he's going into bhavanga. That's a very big development. Huh? So since people don't share their ideas with me, I don't know. Some people, they email me. Huh? Okay. Now, when explaining jhana, there's the explanation. Bhikkhu vivaccheva kāmehi, vivaccheva akusalehi dhammehi, savitakkang savichārang, vivekacang pīti sukhang patamang jhanang upasampajya viharati. Now this is how the first jhana is explained. So in first jhana, how many factors? 5 factors. Okay. Before going into now 5 factors, savitakkam vitakka, savicharang vichara, vivekajang piti, sukha, patamajjana, upasampanja vihati. Ekagata is included, vivekajang. Okay. Now there is a special word used here, vivacheva kamehi, vivacheva akusalehi. Secluded from sense pleasures, secluded from unwholesome states of mind. When it comes to viveka, what does it mean, viveka? Sri Lankans know because that's Pali. Rest. How many rests do you know in Buddhism? 2? Okay. Any more rests that you think about?
Rest houses.
Yeah, that is good. Good way. When you go to a rest house alone, what do you get? I'm not saying with somebody else. You go to rest house, what is the rest that you get? You get bodily rest. Kaya viveka. Okay? You necessarily cannot talk about chitta viveka because rest house is not an ideal place for that. That's why Buddha says aranyagato rukamulagato sunyagara. No, now with the Tibetan tradition that I've learned is, now people always ask, Bhante, whether we should be closing our eyes. Now the Tibetans, they never close their eyes when they are meditating, and their attainments are like, it's very quick. But when they stick to the point that they go and meditate in a box or in a cave or in a remote place. Now we have to close our eyes because we are always meditating, not in a place like that. I'm not asking you to open your eyes and do meditation, but please try doing that, because not anywhere in Tipitaka or commentary talks about closing your eyes. In fact, if you go to a cemetery and close your eyes, it might even scare you. If you keep your eyes open but still concentrating on your breath, do this for yourself and see. I'm not forcing you to do anything, but if it is easy for you to close your eyes, that's how the Theravada world works. I personally have asked this from my masters. They said it's not necessary that you completely close your eyes. No Buddha statue usually closes the eye. You point your sight a little downwards and carry on with your meditation. Yes. Okay, it's not there. No, it's not there. You have to poke. I think it's the machine, no? Okay. Okay, nice. Then okay, Kaya Viveka, Chitta Viveka. Third one is what? Now I have in my original document to Champika, I have written that and I have strike through. She has deleted it from the. No. Then I should have deleted it in the first place. So third one is we talk about. Upadiviveka. What does it mean by Upadiviveka? Normally, Buddha talks about Kaya Viveka, Chitta Viveka, Upadiviveka. Now, when it comes to the commentary, the Upadiviveka is abstaining from substance. What is substance? Ultimately, Upadiviveka means Nibbana. But you cannot apply that Upadiviveka here because we are doing meditation to go into Nibbana. So Nibbana is not conducive of Jhana. So so that's why Visuddhimagga says the third one as Vikambana Viveka. Now this is the first time in Tipitaka they use Vikambana Viveka. Usually it is Vikambana Pahana. How many types of Pahana do you know? Tadanga Pahana, Vikambana Pahana. There are 7 types of pahana. I will teach you later. It's not relevant here. Vikambana pahana means you suppress. Through suppressing what? 5 hindrances, you come into seclusion, viveka. So this is called vikambana pahana. We are suppressing what? The 5 hindrances through anapanasati. So now we are in the middle of anapanasati sutta. Now we know we are doing anapanasati for both vidarshana and samatha. We were doing vipassana, but in the process of doing vipassana, we thought some might get the sign, nimitta. If they get the nimitta, they might go into jhana. If they go into jhana, it's very important that we explain this. That's why we are explaining nimitta and jhana here. Otherwise, we were doing vipassana. So we need to understand, now you have to come into terms, what methods are you employing for the abandonment of hindrances? So practically you have to think now to attain jhana, hindrances should not be there. Then we have to come up with a method to either suppress hindrances, either completely eradicate hindrances. How many techniques do we have in Buddhism to attain jhana? What are those 4? That is Satipatthana. Yes, Satipatthana we already talked about it. Satipatthana is conducive to attaining jhana. Yeah. No, have you heard about Satalis Kammatthana, the 40 meditation objects? We have 40 meditation objects to attain jhana, but not all these 40 will get you into first jhana. There are few numbers that will take you to upachara. Now you have learned what upachara is in our previous classes. Is it whatever the meditation method you are using, is it an effective method to abandon hindrances? That also you have to think. Now I personally don't think with 5 precepts alone a person can go into jhana. Okay, you need to have more restrainment in life. So everyday work and running up and down will not give successful jhana. If it is, have you experienced relative temporary subsiding of hindrances? Now with your meditation also, you have to understand whether the hindrances are there. If you are falling asleep, that means Tina Middha is there. If you are getting angry, that means Vyapada is there. If you have constant doubt, that means you have Vichikiccha. So in that way also you can have an estimation of your meditation progress. Please understand. But when it comes to jhana, it is only for the time being that you are in the jhana, these things will be suppressed. Once you come out of it, the hindrances will be there. But relatively, if you have a little 5, I don't know, we cannot calibrate it in a way like that. I have 50% Tina Middha, have you seen? 100% Tina Middha, you completely sleep. 50% Tina Middha, you like this, wobbling. 25% Tina Middha. Then again Bhavanga. Yeah. Very important. This is for... Okay. Now we go to jhana factors. I will not teach you second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana, sixth jhana, seventh jhana, eighth jhana. I will not teach you because no point. These all are attainments. Just for the sake of putting everything in your mind is not useful. If somebody come and talk about jhana with me in an interview level, then if I realize that he has gone into jhana, I will personally give advice how to go to second jhana and third jhana, fourth jhana. In that way, otherwise I will not here explain how to, if you are in first jhana, this is the way that you have to jump into the second jhana or the third jhana, I will not tell. But if you know the first jhana, then you know all jhanas. Okay. So now this is the classification of jhanas according to Sutta and Abhidhamma. Okay, now according to suttas, there's Vitakka, Vichara, Piti, Sukha. But according to Abhidhamma and Visuddhimagga, Vitakka, Vichara, Piti, Sukha, Ekaggata. According to Sutta, there are only 4 jhanas. But according to Abhidhamma, how many jhanas are there? 5 jhanas are there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Prathama jhana, Dutiya jhana, Tatiya jhana, Chatutha jhana. Those are called Rupavachara jhanas. Material jhanas. What are the 4 immaterial jhanas? What is the first immaterial jhana? Aka? Oh, second one? I am not telling that because I cannot say. I always fall into trouble with my masters trying to say that. Third one? Akin, cha. Akincha, no, akincha sanya, no. Akincha is where there is no sanya. Akincha yatana, no. Then the 4th one, neva sanya, na sanya. That's easy, but other 3 are difficult. But we are not going there, luckily. Okay. So, okay. Now we have 5 things to learn. Today we are going to learn Vitakka and Vichara. Now when you say Vitakka, what is the English translation to Vitakka? Applied thought. Forget about applied when it comes to thought. What does it mean? Now in jhana, do we have thoughts? Yes, we do. We are talking about first jhana. Otherwise, why they put the word thought? Okay, in the first jhana, we have thought. So, what is the stage in meditation that you will not have thoughts at all? No, okay, let's say directly 4th one, Upekka Ekaggata. That's very easy. But completely even we say Chitta, mind and Chetasika. Mind formations are also not there in a special state. We call it Nirodha Samapatti. Accession to cessation. At that level also, you will completely not have any thought formations. So now, if you say now this is a thought, what is the thought that you have when you are in Samadhi? You can't have multiple kind of thoughts. You cannot have thoughts. Now hindrances are not there. So there will be no thoughts about sensual pleasures. There will be no thoughts about anger. There will be no thoughts about sleeping, eating, no nothing. So this particular type of thought is there. The first one is called applied thought. Where are we applying this thought to? On the breath. Okay. When you say on the breath, usually if you are doing Anapanasati, it's the breath. Usually thought is applied to the object, nimitta. Okay. So now you are meditating, you are constantly taking your mind to the object. Okay. Without a thought you cannot do this. Okay. So you apply, that's called applied thought. In the initial phase, you apply your thought into the meditation object. So the similes in Buddhism, in the commentary to Dhammasangani, Atta Salini explained, just as someone assesses the kin's place in dependence on a relative of a friend. Those days also same, no? They go to the president through somebody and somebody. Like that, you go into the object through the applied thought. Can you all understand that? What applied thought is? And now we are trying to something very deep in concentration through theory. Not to learn theory, but when you go there, because at least to have a glimpse what this jhana is, some people think, okay, jhana is a place like a dark place where you cannot feel anything. That's 4th jhana maybe like that. But still, if you are in your first jhana, that itself is enough, but you cannot understand that. So as long as your meditation is going right, if you are keeping your concentration on the breath constantly, the thought is there that thought is directed to the object. Can you just roughly understand the phenomena here? But it doesn't. But remember, this is a chitta viti, but the thought doesn't end there. Thoughts continually goes. So there comes the second one. What is the one? Vichara, applied thought. So these are two types of thoughts related on each other. So I want to go further and explain how it is explained in later commentaries. Vitakka is a mental factor. What is a mental factor? Chaitasika. It's not a mind, it's a chaitasika, mental factor. Common to wide variety of modes that ranges from sense discrimination to imagination, reasoning and deliberation. Now we are not talking reasoning, deliberation here. We are talking about vitakka in jhana. To aid to the practice of concentration culminating in the first jhana, applied thought can be unwholesome as in thoughts of sensual pleasure, ill will and cruelty, or wholesome in thoughts of renunciation, benevolence and compassion. Can we have Pali words for renunciation, benevolence and compassion? What is renunciation? Now what happened to Meghiya? Meghiya went to do meditation against the will of Lord Buddha. Then he couldn't attain jhana. Instead of jhana, what did he get? Kama vitakka, vyapada vitakka, vihinsa vitakka. Okay, these three types of vitakka he got. What are the vitakkas that goes against these three vitakkas? What is renunciation in Pali? What? It's okay. We are not giving marks. We don't have an exam at the end of this meditation. You come up with, I like to hear, I can relate this, whatever you answer, I can, during my children's talks, I tell, the mistakes of adults. Nekamma paramita. Nekamma. Renounce. Nekamma vitakka. Then, benevolence. Nekamma. Compassion. Karuna. That is also, there's a vitakka, benevolence. What's the word for benevolence? I've forgotten now. I was trying to entertain her, now I forgot everything. That's what happens. Okay, please understand, kama vitakka, vihinsa vitakka, vyapada vitakka also has their opposites. So that's what we are talking about. This is a mental formation. Okay. In jhana, applied thought is invariably wholesome. In jhana, there cannot be unwholesome. You understand? That's obvious. Function of directing the mind upon its object stands forth with special clarity. Visuddhimagga explains that in jhana, the function of the applied thought is to strike and thresh. What do you mean by strike and thresh? Strike and thresh is used in farming, especially in paddy fields in Sri Lanka. You strike and thresh. Okay, so you strike at, what is the meaning of threshing? I also didn't know when I read this, so I googled it. Then all the explanation came with, they say separating the seeds from paddy. Yeah, yes, paddy field. So, okay, so you need to understand in that way, okay? Please put this into the way that you understand. If you are not sure, you let me know. To have the object struck at by applied thought and threshed by applied thought. Milinda Panya. Now, Milinda Panya is a later commentary. The same point by defining applied thought as the absorption, just as a carpenter drives a well-fashioned piece of wood into a joint, so applied thought has the characteristics of absorption. So what is the purpose of applied thought now in jhana?
Directing your mind to the meditation object. Just only direction. Just only direction. Vichara is the one who will keep you going on this meditation object throughout. In simple terms, I have given. Here the word means applied thought or thinking about some object. The characteristic of vitakka is the placing of consciousness, chitta or mind, on the chosen theme of meditation, such as the breath as the theme of mindfulness of breathing. So now try to understand what is the object of metta. Because metta can take you to up to third jhana. Okay? What is the object? Whatever meditation technique, when you are going into a retreat, when the master is asking you to contemplate on a meditation object, it's your duty to apply this knowledge. And how does this meditation take me to jhana, to vipassana, the value of it, that's up to you. Okay, now vichara. Then again, what is the translation? Sustain, thought. Then again, it's a thought. Vichara means sustain. Sustain means continuous. So you take your initial thought into the meditation object, but you cannot drop it there. You have to maintain it throughout. So in that is a separate thought. Why it becomes a separate thought? Because we don't have one single continuous mind. We have chitta, viti, different ongoing chitta vitis for each chitta movement. Okay? So the commentaries explain that vichara has the characteristics of continued pressure on the object. Thus vitakka is described as the first impact, strike of the mind on the object, and the gross inceptive phase of thought. In contrast to this, sustained thought is described as the act of anchoring the mind on the object, the subtle phase of continued mental pressure. Now, there are some classic examples, classic similes given in Buddhism to explain this. We'll go through those similes. Applied thought is like striking a bell, and sustained thought is like it's ringing. Yeah. So that's why this is symbolic of this. This is how it all came to be. That's why in the Zen tradition, all the masters, apply the ring is the sustained thought. Applied thought like is the bees flying towards a flower. Sustained thought is like the buzzing. Ma'am, I was waiting for you. Because in the beginning I made a special slide for you to understand karma. I will put it again, okay?
Thank you so much. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I traveled a very long way.
Yes, yeah. Last night also you were here till late night, yeah? So are you going to sit down?
Yes, I was coming in very quietly.
Okay, no problem. We are still not meditating. Yes. So I think this is clear enough for you all now. Yeah, what vitakka and vichara is. Applied thought is like a compass pin that stays fixed to the center of a circle. Sustained thought like the pin that revolves around it. Okay, so after reading this Visuddhimagga, I realized that compasses were there a long time ago, no? This commentary was written like 750,000 years ago, Visuddhimagga. So the compasses has been there for a long time. Anyway, that's how the ships and through stars functions. Okay, some modern similes. The flying of a bird. Vitakka is the flapping of the wings of a big bird lifting itself up from the ground into the air. Whereas vichara is like the subtle adjustments of the bird's wings as it soars through the air, maintaining flight without violent flapping of its wings. Understood? Okay. Flying of a plane. Now see how practical you are. Even in a flight, if you there are a lot of ways that you can recollect Dhamma. Vitakka is like a plane taking from a runaway, which requires a lot of how do you pronounce it? Whatever, yes. And energy. Whereas vichara is like the flight of the plane high in the sky, which requires less fuel and energy to sustain the flight. Now, do you understand the function of vitakka and vichara? These two thoughts can be there in jhana. Okay, jhana is not a place where there is emptiness. Yesterday you were asking about intrinsic, extrinsic emptiness. So this is not an empty place. Without these two thoughts, you cannot be in first jhana. In simple terms, vichara is sustained thinking on the meditation theme. Its direct function is to take over after vitakka has lifted consciousness to the meditation theme. At that point, vichara will be then responsible for taking care of the mind and making sure that it stays in that state of meditation. One should understand vitakka appears in the text conjunction with the word vichara. Okay, now vitakka, vichara comes together. In Tipitaka, there are a lot of places vitakka comes. Vitakka is everywhere. Whatever that comes to your mind can be vitakka. But when it comes to meditation, vitakka, vichara are a pair that is always together. The pair signifies two interconnected but distinct aspects of the thought process and bring out the difference between them as well as their common character. Now, I go to a special set of dhammas which comes in Anguttara Nikaya. This is being repeatedly taught at meditation schools in the Theravada tradition, when you study meditation at a monastery. The 4 developments of concentration. Now people ask, if people argue like, what is the purpose of concentration? I said, the concentration is part of the Eightfold Noble Path, because jhana is a definition of Samma Samadhi. So if Samma Samadhi is part of the Eightfold Noble Path, how can we ignore? So when you come to jhana, if you are going to do meditation and establish concentration, these are the 4 functions of concentration. Or in other ways, you can have 4 benefits of concentration, 4 reasons to develop concentration, 4 things you need to do with concentration. In all, okay? Do you understand what I am telling here? If you have concentration, either these are going to be there with you, or you need to do concentration in the hope of these 4 things. First one is very easy to understand. There is the development of concentration that, when developed and pursued, leads to a pleasant abiding in the here and now. I was going to bring the Pali text for this. I didn't bring, because at the end of the day you will just listen, but then you will take it in English, isn't it? So right here and now means what? We call it Ditta Dhamma Sukha Viharana. Ditta Dhamma Sukha Viharana means right here and now you feel happy when you are in jhana. So here then again it is explained, and what is the development of concentration? Then when developed and pursued leads to pleasant and abiding in the here and now. There is the case where a monk, quite withdrawn from, again the same formula, withdrawn from sensuality, withdrawn from unskillful quietness, remains in the first jhana, rapture and pleasure born from withdrawal. Now, is Piti Sukha included in the first jhana? So ultimately happiness is there. Okay, this is what it is explained by the first one. Let's go. There is the development of concentration that, when developed and pursued, leads to the attainment of knowledge and vision. Knowledge and vision, here the Pali term is they are using. Pali term, knowledge and vision, they are using Jnana Dasana. What is the knowledge and vision that is talking here? No. That is not wisdom. Knowledge and vision here in the commentaries is explained. Jhana can bring you Dibba Chakku, Dibba Sota, clairvoyance, divine eye, divine ear, the able to see your past lives, the Ashta Samapatti, the 8 abhinyas is mentioned here as knowledge and vision. Okay, not just simple wisdom. Wisdom is brought through, especially through vipassana knowledges. But this is a state of concentration, which if you use it properly, Now let's see how to develop knowledge and vision. And what is the development of concentration that leads to the attainment of knowledge and vision? Now here the English translation is knowledge and vision because it's mentioned Jnana Dassana. Okay, but ideally, that's why see the English translation puts people into trouble. There is the case where a monk attains to the perception of light. What is perception of light? Aloka Sanya. When you start doing samatha practice, the master will give you kasina meditation, aloka kasina, nila kasina, and through this very easy to establish clairvoyance. Even with the nimitta, even the aloka kasina can be taken as a meditation practice to direct attainment of jhana plus clairvoyance. So a perception of light and its result on the perception of daytime. You know, anybody who's doing aloka sanya, they should be able to see the night as day again as day. All throughout, he should maintain the aloka sanya. Now there is a monk in Siripada. He uses this aloka sanya in a good way. He doesn't have to take torches and all. He has come up with a method to see outside with light. I met one monk in Myanmar. When he cannot maintain the light wherever he goes, but when he sit down for meditation in the night, he can see the surroundings brightly. So this is how you establish aloka sanya. The third one, and there's the development of concentration that, when developed and pursued, leads to mindfulness and alertness. That is obvious. Mindfulness is what? Sati. Okay. Then how you should attain and what is the development of concentration that leads to mindfulness and alertness? There is the case where feelings are known to the monk as they arise. Now please understand, now this is mindfulness. Then again sati. The feature of sati is what? Taking notings. We learn this, vipassana. Taking noting. Here, see, nothing contradicts in Dhamma. When it comes to sati, it is mentioned that there is the case where feelings are known to the monk as they arise, as they persist, and as they subside. Can you come up with another term for this? Samudaya, Astangamaya, and okay, Utpada, Titi, Banga. Whatever that comes to your mind, you make a noting of the rising, changing, and passing away. In that way, concentration is used to establish mindfulness. So now in concentration, is there vipassana? Yeah. Yes, so obvious. So nobody can say jhana is not important. Yeah. So within jhana itself, now there is vipassana. This is Anguttara Nikaya. No, not commentary. The direct word of the Buddha. And what is the development of concentration that leads to the ending of this is effluence. This translation is by Ajahn. Are you recording this? Yes, okay. Ajahn Thanisaro. The effluence is what is effluence? Ultimately to attain Nibbana. Okay. There is the case where a monk remains focused on arising and falling away with the reference to the 5 clinging aggregates. Now to have sati, what did the person do? He just saw in every phenomena rising, changing, and passing away. But here distinctively it is mentioned to attain Nibbana, what the yogi must do. You should relate that noting to the 5 Panchupadana Skandha. Okay. So clinging aggregates, such is form, such is origination, such is passing away. Form, Rupa Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana. In all 5 aspects, you have to take mental notings. In this way, through jhana, you will attain Nibbana. Okay, we just have to breathe and stop and apply our knowledge. Sutame jnana. Sutame jnana, the knowledge that we hear. Chintame jnana, the knowledge that we philosophize and argue to get into bhavanamaya jnana, which we sit down and meditate. A very practical method. At the end of the day, not just theory, isn't it? So it's the clear blueprint is there. It's up to individual practitioner to make an effort. There was an email by a gentleman who's coming to this meditation class. He said, Bhante, thank you very much. The jhana and all, samadhi and all, we never thought of that they existed. Now when the teaching comes, there's a motivation that we need to attain this. You go to a temple and you offer flowers and do this puja, this and that, but it doesn't cover. How can it cover samadhi, right? So if you are skillful, even within a flower you can attain, taking that as a nimitta. Now this Arya Jnana Bhante, who's famous in Sri Lanka, he always say, even he went to a temple, the people were doing a candle offering. But while they were doing the offering, he was skillful enough to see the candle and reflect, this is something that arises, changes and passes away. This is how you maintain skillfulness in meditation. So, very important. Any question right now? You say you have a question from last week, and after reading the note, if the question is still there, you will ask.
My practice is mainly concentration one day.
Yeah.
But you were talking about vipassana. So
Yeah.
I was just interested in what stages does one deviate from
The vipassana.
one-pointedness
Okay.
to the vipassana? Is there a stage or moment? Or
Yes.
activity?
Yes. So now, if you are going to jump from sati into samadhi, ultimately you will come into concentration. Then again, within concentration, you need to identify the noting system. Now, in the PAOK tradition, when we were studying under our masters, they first take us to first jhana, and first jhana they take us to second jhana. We don't just stay at first jhana. But those who cannot reach second, third, fourth jhana, they say, okay, employ for you cannot, if you don't want to spend more time, even first jhana is enough to do vipassana. But it is advised that you go to fourth jhana and you come with a skill that you can, there are 5 ways you keep the jhana strong. We will learn that next week. The pancha vashita, 5 ways that you can seduce your jhana. When you are thorough with that, we go into vipassana. Okay, that's the place. So if you ask technically, according to the commentaries, Bhante, where should we beginning? But here we started from vipassana. Now ultimately we have come to jhana. But if you go to PAOK, there's no talk about vipassana. You employ anapanasati to directly establish jhana. And what level you go into vipassana, then it's the fourth jhana. Okay, after establishing fourth jhana.
Excuse me, Bhante,
Yeah.
but you did say that some people don't go into jhana, but they go directly into vipassana and reach a higher stage. That's what I understood.
Yeah. Not necessarily. You don't have to. That's why the document that I sent, what masters say about this thing. Did you get that document? Yes. So the masters say, because jhana is directed at monks, monastics who keep to austere practices. But over past 2,600 years, attaining jhana has declined, because going to work in the morning, coming home, half an hour practice will not give you jhana. It will give you good sleep. So that's why, because you are not attaining jhana, means this realization cannot be attained. That's why Mahasi Sayadaw developed the technique, momentary concentration. If you do this again and again and again, once you practice this again and again and again and again, you can have good concentration. That is more than enough to do vipassana. Okay, this is called samatyanika vipassana. Even Eckhart Tolle, I remember him telling that small bouts of mindfulness every day, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, even while you are in the train, you do a small concentration technique. in the long run will give you good concentration. So the document that I sent, almost all masters emphasize on having momentary concentration. They totally don't deny jhana, or they totally don't rely on complete vipassana also. Employ skillfully whatever the way that is suitable. But if you ask a forest monk, I don't think we need to go through momentary meditation, because if the practice is conducive, jhana is attainable. It's very well demonstrated in Myanmar. Okay, even in Sri Lanka, but I just say that I studied under Myanmar masters, that's why. Shall we go to the first slide to show the ma'am? Now this is the death moment we talked about last week, and you asked the 4 types of karma coming to action. Actually, moment of death, there will be 3 things coming to you. First one is karma, that we talked last week, and karma nimitta. Any good or bad thing that you did might come. You know, there might be a vision of a knife, of flowers, of incense. This is called karma nimitta. And gati nimitta is you might directly have a vision of where you are going. It is said in Dhamma, like if you are going down, you will see flames and animal realms, and you will have very unpleasant feelings. If you are going to good realms, you will have bright lights, shining things appearing in your visual field, imagination. When it comes to karma, garuka karma, achinna karma, asanna karma, katatta karma, we talked last time. So I don't have to give you an explanation. Time is...
The other day I was reading the Samyukta Nikaya, and I went through the Kassapa Samyukta, very a good example. Buddha is giving an example how Dhamma will vanish in the world. So it is said, like when people have no reverence to the master. Who's our master? Lord Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, to his teaching, and especially at the end to Samadhi. These are 5 reasons bhikkhus, bhikkhunis, lay people like Upasak Upasika that I give as the reasons for declining Dhamma in the world. So he says no reverence, and what is the word that there's in the Tipitaka? It's there, the 5. Can I have a note for myself as well, please? It's here. Without reverence and deference towards Samadhi. When you say Samadhi, what does it mean, Samadhi? Yes, that is one thing. But when you say, when you have no reverence to Samadhi, what does it mean? What in the Eightfold Noble Path, how many limbs are there to Samadhi? When you say Sila Samadhi Prajna, or we start with Prajna, Sila Samadhi. Samadhi, how many? Samma Vayama, Samma Sati, Samma Samadhi. So when you have no reverence to these 3 things, obviously if nobody is putting an effort and they are not keeping mindfulness, and through mindfulness they are not attaining Samadhi, we call this also Samadhi, the collection of Samadhi. He never used here without reverence and deference towards Jhana, he didn't use. Without reverence and deference towards Samadhi. Samadhi is a common term. So please understand, this is very important. The topic that we are in is very important. But at the end of the day, when you get caught up with these words and explanations, you get lost. When I never read anything, when I was meditating in Pahang, I told many times, I asked my master to give me permission, can I at least spend 1 hour in the library? He said, no, that cannot be granted. Then after many times he said, okay, 45 minutes enough, but you are never going to take books into your kuti. So I was so desperate to read. I took newspapers thrown away after lunch, telling them that I'm going to light my firewood with this paper and go and read the paper. So this is what happens, when you are in a forest. But please understand, especially learning Samadhi also, after reading Samadhi, all my Samadhi went away, honestly. So please, just to have a rough idea, But don't play with words when you are doing your meditation. That's very important. Okay? Especially when it comes to vitakka, vichara, piti, sukha. Piti, sukha, this happiness and joy will itself put you in big trouble. If you go start following these words, we will understand why. Okay, now the third jhana factor is what? Piti. What is the common translation for piti? Joy. Happiness is, now the problem there is the major, the most important book that we refer for meditation is Visuddhimagga, the latest commentary. But Venerable Jnanaponika translated that he has put piti as happiness, but other monks, they disputed no, piti is not happiness, piti is joy and rapture. Ma'am, did you get your note from there? Oh. Oh. You yes. See that is a personal perception of what you feel. So when it comes to jhana, you cannot have your own explanations to this. For me, joy is like, experience can be different. But keeping your foot on this side and thinking about jhana on the other side is never practical. But to show that there is something called jhana, and when you attain this, you have this within you, we put this into words. But saying that I was attending a conference on Samadhi in Yangon, and one of the chemistry professors, he's a very famous student of my master, but he has been a professor for some long time. He never meditated. He never came to the monastery. He was one of our propaganda personnel. And one from Monash, one professor, and Professor Sri Lankan professor, all were there for this Chittanupassana conference. He came and started telling jhana is like this, when you attain jhana it's like this. I thought, how can you be so sure? You know, I have never seen you in my, of course, you don't have to come to a monastery. He might be doing his meditation in his office room. That's obvious. But if somebody is saying pinpointedly for 100%, this is piti, this is sukha, no, it is not going to be like that. Please understand. Once you come to this experience, you will understand why. When you are attaining jhana, the happiness will come to you. Then is there anything that defines whether this is rapture and joy or happiness? It's some common feeling that you have. But this is important that you put into these words to explain this. Because if you want to explain everything that is happening within our lives, everything, if you want to explain the phenomena, monks or the commentary writers need something called abhidhamma, something to explain with. That's why. So piti is joy or rapture, or the feeling of full contentment resulting from the peace of mind achieved in Samadhi. I said now happiness is not a common translation. So how does this piti, what is the reason for piti to happen? Why is this jhanic state have the thing called piti? Why suddenly you have to go into jhana to experience this happiness? Joy. Huh? Yes, because the defilements are not there. There's nothing defiling us. There are no mental fluctuations as to suffering, as to that we don't go into extremes when we have no 5 hindrances. So please understand these 5 hindrances is one of the most important things that you need to understand. It's like now we have found the organism. You put into the microscope, now you have found the bacteria that is defiling us. Okay, it is one of the main thing that is not letting the body grow into nirvana is these 5 hindrances. Everywhere, if you see when the 5 hindrances are there, we are bound to not have samadhi, thereby our mind wanders away. So the initial reason for joy, now look at the translation here.
When the disciple sees the five hindrances abandoned in himself, gladness arises within him. Now, honestly, in a practical level, now when you go into jhana, now do we contemplate that whether we have five hindrances or not? Now, very difficult to put into words, isn't it? We don't, especially in jhana, we don't see whether the five hindrances are there or not. It's not there. It's not there because it's not there, the joy arises. But now you write it. When you go there, you look for the bad things, whether they are not, thereby we are getting happy. No, please understand, it's not going to be like that. Okay, when you are there, you are totally there. You have no, if the hindrances are there in the first place, you are not in jhana. When you are in jhana, to see whether there are hindrances or not, you cannot find it even. Okay, jhana is a state like that. Okay. Here the word gladden. Now, when the gladden, usually in sutta, in the sutras, the original word of the Buddha, he uses something called the pamojja. After pamojja arises joy. There is a amount of gladdening of your body before joy arises. Okay, you are glad. When the sutra explain this piti sukha, they use a special prefix, special word to explain this. What is it? The other day I explained the vivekajang piti sukhang. Viveka, out of seclusion. So that's why meditators don't have to completely go into jhana. Seclusion will also itself give some happiness to us. So over 2600 years, we are trying to detail all these things into, we are trying to put everything inside jhana and say this piti sukha arises through jhana only. No, when Buddha is explaining out of seclusion, that itself, that amount of piti is also there. So please understand, when he is explaining vivekajang piti sukhang, try to understand whether this is attainable when this viveka is there in your lives or not. We learn something, we do something else, isn't it? So adjust your lifestyle. When you are following Patimokka Sila, Vivekaja is there because through our precepts itself, our Viveka is arranged. Not cooking, not shopping, not watching movies, no kids. The Viveka is there. You guys have to bring us dana, that's a different story. And you delay your Nibbana, I don't know. But there is no say, you come with dana. If you want to stay behind, you can stay also in the monastery. Then get ordained, no problem. The Vibhanga. The Vibhanga is our first commentary that we refer to when people don't like reading Visuddhimagga. Defines piti as gladness, joy, joyfulness, mirth, merriment, exaltation, exhilaration, and satisfaction of mind. Okay, now very important when you say satisfaction of mind. Have you heard the word piti in Tripitaka? Where else can you remember piti coming? Seven factors of enlightenment is like piti sambojjhanga, isn't it? Yeah, one good answer. We will talk about that because we are in the middle of the sutta very later on. Have you, attaining jhana, piti. The Buddha always used piti bakka. I'm eating my happiness. I'm eating my joy. Can you eat joy? You can. Why, when we learn the 4 types of food, we talk about mano sanchetanika, passahara. We eat our pleasures, So in that way it's possible. So have you heard, where does the word sukha come? Where does the word sukha? When sukha is a commonly used word, Just think where sukha comes. When you explain Vedana, Sukha Vedana, Dukkha Vedana, Adukkama Sukha Vedana.
So what's the difference between Sukha, Piti and Sukha now? Piti is always a mental formation. Okay? It's a Chetasika. It is a feeling, not a feeling, it's something arising in your mind. And we always say it's a Mano Sankar, Chitta Sankar. It's a formation. But when it comes to Sukha, it's a body and mind both. Okay, please understand that. Now in my note, there might be some contradictory statements. Okay, like Chitta Passaddi, Kaya Passaddi. These are Abhidhamma terms. If you don't know what Chitta Passaddi, Kaya Passaddi, you ask, then why Bhante, you say under Piti, why have you put the bodily, that body is not involved? Now, when we talk about Piti, Visuddhimagga explains 5 types of Piti. Is it 5? Yes, okay. Because I don't, honestly, I cannot be a witness to these 5 kinds of happiness, joy, because I have not experienced this the written way. So I cannot come here and talk like an expert. Now this is Kanika Piti, this is a momentary Piti, because I have experienced it in a different way. But I will explain how this comes to be. But if you are going into Jhana, why this is going to be a happy moment in your life? Because never in your life you have not experienced something like this. It's like a child eating chocolate for the first time. Yes, our lives, we have not experienced a thing called Jhana. This Bhante Arya Jnana, he explains nicely now all our samsara. We have been ladies, we have been gents, we have been kings, we have been cows, we have been monks, we have been every other thing we have tasted in this samsara. But as human beings, we have not still tasted the thing called enlightenment. Isn't it sad? Yes. So it's very important. Likewise, we have tasted cheese, chocolate, whatever thing, but we have not tasted the thing called Jhana. You might have changed, but in general I'm talking. But when you go to that level, enormous happiness arises within you. Because especially for a monk, you leave everything behind. You leave your parents, everything behind, and you come to a monastery, you get ordained, and you are trying to follow the path. You take instructions, then your master give you instructions, then you attain jhana. Is there anything happier than that in your life? No, it's very important. It's a beautiful feeling. So I don't think, I don't find any reason why you cannot do this. You don't, I'm not saying you have to be a monk. Just understand what are the things that you don't have where monks have. I'm not telling every other monk, a forest monk. So try to arrange, try to plan a way that you reduce your work. I'm not asking now, you will think, okay, it's easy for a monk to say now when we go out of this door, you have to plan tomorrow and go here and there and 1,000 other work. But at least try to, now this year, end of the year, you can plan your next year. So try to arrange your work and, say which months can we take a holiday to Sri Lanka. Maybe I spend in a monastery for 1, 2, 3 months. This is just for the sole purpose of attaining jhana. Can't you be there? Not anything else. Not letting very difficult. You come into a monastery temporarily leaving everything else. Very difficult. But at least if you know that I'm going to be there for 2, 3 months and I don't have to worry about it, write everything, all property to your wife or husband. But then again, you're not sure about them also. Then I'm not saying. Okay, anyways. So, what's the first type of piti? Is, what is the first type? The Kuddaka piti. The Kuddaka piti means, Kudda means very little. So I don't know how Kuddaka piti, I have experience, ange mile killing yes, the body hairs coming up during meditation. Normally Kammatthanacharyas, the meditation teachers, learn this happiness through talking to other
students, because they will come and interpret their happiness. Not that all monks experience all these 5 types of, especially the 4th one, will hardly happen. So, Kuddaka Piti is, you go into jhana, now you are in the first jhana, Vitakka Vichara is there. You might find happiness that you, feel like your hairs rising in your body. Then again, when Visuddhimagga is saying Piti is a mental formation and to experience it through your body, contradictory. It's very difficult to understand in jhana. That's why I say you cannot experience it like this. But there is happiness. For some people, initially, because this is the early stage, you might feel like, as you say, some tingling in your body, some ants going on your face or body, you can feel like that. Okay? So this is a small type of thing. The other one is Kanika Piti. Kanika Piti is momentary. That is also momentarily come and go. It is transient. It comes and goes. But please refer to the note. These are only notes. I don't testify to this, because I have individually not experienced these 5 types of happiness. Oh, yeah, you have experience. Yeah, the other people come and say, Bhante, I experience like ants going in my body. There is a shiver going in my body. My happiness is like I jolt, I get a current. Things like that. That is the 3rd type of piti. They are physically, you feel like, especially some people, they go through profuse sweating. Sometimes it's so much sweating and they don't know what to do, but they come and explain it as, I think I got enlightened because I, sweat a lot, That is nice, isn't it? I don't know why every one of you have that kind of a good cushion, and I have this small kind of, because my my butt is bigger than yours. Anybody? Okay, can I have that? Okay, thank you very much, Sukhi Hotu. Why are you laughing? Huh? It's very difficult. Sorry. Huh? Okay. So, I heard we are getting these new cushions. So, now I need to reduce time that I'm teaching you. I have to stick with exactly 30 minutes, because every time we talk more and do little meditation. But without teaching these things also, we will be, we have to drag along for so many. Now look, we are still in the first 4 lines of Anapanasati Sutta. After 16 stages. So, the 3rd type of piti is what? Kanika Piti. And the 4th type is very interesting. Ubbenga Piti. There is a nice story in Visuddhimagga, where this Sri Lankan pregnant young lady, she wanted to go to the monastery. But she was not going into jhana. She was, because parents say, daughter, we cannot take you to the monastery because you are in the late stages of your pregnancy, the delivery is on your way. It's not wise to go to the temple right now. But she came out of the balcony and she heard all the chanting and all the prayers happening at the temple. It brought her enormous piti. It is said that because of that piti, she was lifted out of the ground and taken into the monastery. So this story comes in Visuddhimagga. So I never wanted to type that, and we don't want big magic stories. Then you will be going into jhana to jump out of Okay, now Prahana Piti is the type that what we are talking about in jhana, because all perceive the whole body Priti without actually when you go into jhana, you cannot distinguish these things. It's like a bubble, It's a vacuum-like thing, but you have some joy, So the simile here given is piti, joy like a full bladder is the one that we are going to target, what we are looking at, jhana, when it comes to piti. You understand? Now, although you understand, please understand, learning this alone, you cannot get into jhana. The jhana, now we are in jhana, we are studying jhana, because when we go there, we need to come to an understanding. But rather than studying this, it's very important to study the techniques, what we used before. Okay? Now, sukha. Sukha, we said the sukha is a vedana. When it is a vedana, it's happiness. So, happiness, the English translation is happiness for sukha. And when sukha comes, it is both mental and physical happiness. But please understand, in the third jhana, you don't have piti. It's sukha ekagata. Okay? Now, in the Visuddhi Magga, how they differentiate priti and sukha is like this. A thirsty man goes in the desert. Okay? Then somebody is telling him, this is in the Visuddhi Magga, somebody is telling him, in another 2 kilometers, not 2 kilometers, when you go, you will find an oasis. So he, on the hearing of that, he becomes joyful. This is piti. The more closer to the place he gets, he sees the oasis and the well, he increases that piti. Ultimately, he comes to the place and he drinks water. He's completely in bliss. Okay, now piti sukha, this is how you differentiate. But in experience, you don't see this oasis and you just directly comes to it. Please understand. Hardly anybody can differentiate in jhana how piti sukha cannot.
We have learned the object of meditation, then we have learned the sign nimitta, then we came to the boundary, upachara, then we jumped into access, absorption concentration, we came to access, now we jumped into absorption concentration, and within that we have found the factors of first jhana. Yes? Now to progress from here onwards, since we have attained first jhana, it's very important you establish on it. Now when a yogi is practicing, if that person can have a glimpse of samadhi, it's very important you concretely be established in this particular samadhi, because this is the beginning of true meditation, isn't it? Ultimately you have come to jhana. It's very important that you have to maintain this jhana. Here, special set of instructions come in the book, and special instructions come with a kammattanachari. If you go to a monastery and when the teacher gets to know that you have attained samadhi, it's very important you not let go of that samadhi. Otherwise, it's a very sad thing to sukhi hotu, to have attained jhana and to immediately let go of it is a waste of your practice. But do you think you can maintain jhanas in our life, everyday life? No, it's very difficult. But because I see that you are a very enthusiastic group of yogis, when the right time comes for you, you will make an effort for this, no? So one day, luckily, and this is possible, when you go for a long retreat, when you attain jhanas, then you have to have all the knowledge that is required for maintaining this. That's the purpose of learning all these things. Everything practical, nothing theory. These tunes we give, we don't ask to by heart or there will be an end of year exam for you all. Not like that. So today I would like to start with this Appasado Kama Bahudukka Bahupayasa Adinavo Ettabiyoti iti Chepi Mahanama Arya Savakassa Yatabhutang Sammappaññāya Sudittang Hoti Socha Anyatra Teva Kamehi Anyatra Akusalehi Dammehi Piti Sukang Nadigajjati Anyangva Tato Sannattarang atakoso nevatava anavatti kamesu hoti. This is in Majjhima Nikaya, a sutta called Dukkakkhanda. Chula Dukkakkhanda Sutta. It is explained even through. Now, a lot of people come and ask, Bhante, yes, we understand. We understand there is suffering in this world. So what? Yeah? Anicca Dukkha Anatma is there, so what? So Buddha is, in this sutta, he is clearly saying, yes, a person can come to an understanding in life that life is suffering, life is not happy, life is full of pain, but he still does not attain to the rapture and pleasure. What is rapture and pleasure? What is rapture and pleasure? We studied. Piti Sukha. He does not attain to the rapture and pleasure. Anyatra kamehi, anyatra akusalehi, dhammehi, piti sukhang nadi gacchati. Pleasure that are apart from sensual pleasures. When you say that are apart from sensual pleasures, what does it mean? Yeah, when you don't have a sensual pleasure within you, we have another term for that. The 5 hindrances are not there, apart from unwholesome states. When in the suttas, if you are referring to a sutta, if Buddha is saying apart from unwholesome states and apart from sensual pleasures, it ultimately means there is no 5 hindrances within you. So please understand, no matter how you try to understand anicca, dukkha, anatma, suffering in your day-to-day life, everybody will come and say, yes, so what? There is suffering. What else is there to learn in this? Buddha is clearly saying, unless a person attains samadhi, he will not come to an understanding of real suffering, or he will not have any comparison to see what is happy, what is unhappy. Then I was going through, now this is English translations, cannot help. I went through the commentary. Commentary explains that this particular sentence, although they say, even though a noble disciple has seen clearly as it is actually, is with proper wisdom, how sensual pleasures provide little gratification. Here Buddha is talking about a person who has already attained Sotapanna and Sakurdagami. Even if there are yogis here who has attained Sotapanna and Sakurdagami, still without attaining Samadhi, they cannot relate to suffering. Do you understand the gravity of this? Yes, so please sit down. Please take a note from there. Yeah. Sukhi hotu dirghashayo. So it's very important. Okay, this is in Chulla Dukkakkhanda Sutta, very important. So unless people, we can easily say, yes, we go to hospitals, we see suffering going on, but what is there to learn in it? But Buddha says you have to get rid of 5 hindrances to attain a level of samadhi, to completely get into something more peaceful than that. He may still be attracted to sensual pleasures. He will still be attached to these things. So it's very important that we go into samadhi. And somebody asked, yes, madam, you ask what is the 5th jhana, no? So when it comes to Abhidhamma and commentary, Buddha never talked about a 5th jhana. He always talked about a 4th jhana. But Abhidhamma always, the commentary writers want to be very detailed. So they invented a 5th jhana. It is the same jhana factors divided separately. So when you attain jhana, the experience is going to be the same. But when you divide chitta, now 89, how many in Abhidhamma there are, how many chittas are there? 89. But they are ultimately 121 put into jhana. So this is a technical thing, nothing that you should be, for somebody who's going from a Buddhist examination, they will ask what is the difference with 4th jhana and the 5th jhana. Other than that, for a yogi, it's not that important. Okay? So get to know with your previous notes, get to know the comparison, just what is the difference between the classification. Other than that, practically, there is nothing important. But you should understand how many jhanas are there altogether? Sure? How many jhanas are there altogether? Yes, yes. So how many material jhanas? How many immaterial jhanas? Then altogether how many jhanas? 8. Yeah, that was the answer that I was expecting. So when you say there is a material 5th jhana, you might get confused. Is there an additional altogether 9 jhanas? Please don't know. Still we have only 8 jhanas that you can go. Please understand the immaterial jhanas we cannot touch now. It's a very difficult thing. Unless you go into 4th jhana somewhere, you cannot jump into immaterial jhanas. Because at a class like this happening in Melbourne City, we don't talk about immaterial jhanas. It's a waste of time. But you can still learn. I'm not going to go into that. So please understand that 5th jhana is, what is the classic 5th jhana? What is the name? Aka, Sa, Nan, Cha, Yatana. And what is the 6th one? Vinya, Nang, Cha, Yatana. The 3rd one, Aking, Chan, Nya, Cha, Yatana. And what is the 4th immaterial jhana? Neva Sanya, Na, San, Nyayatana. Okay, that amount is enough, otherwise it's very difficult. So now you all are imagine now you all are established in the 1st jhana. You have experience in your meditation somewhere along your practice. Now the meditation master you meet will also say, okay, very good, you are lucky, you have established in jhana. Now you have a responsibility how to maintain this, how to progress. After 1st jhana, what is there? 2nd jhana, 3rd jhana, 4th jhana. Okay, but once you are established in 1st jhana, it is instructed the yogi should not be efforting to the 2nd jhana immediately. You have to master the 1st jhana. So Buddha gives a nice simile here. Buddha says, like a little cow who is not familiar with his own pasture, he doesn't know. If you don't know Malvan very well, but you take the car and go to some other suburb, you get lost there also. So unless you get to know 1st jhana very well, Buddha is explaining, those who jump quickly into 2nd jhana, they will get lost. So it's very important that we master the 1st jhana. Now in the commentary and in the Patisambhida Magga, there are ways that we can master the 1st jhana. There are 2 methods. Not 2 methods, the same method, but 2 components. Can we go to the other slide? There you are. Yeah. So, the one you did beautifully, the next one. Yes. Now, the first one is, if you want to master the 1st jhana, first you have to do extension of the sign. Now, madam, you asked the other day, where does the sign come? Now, during the 1st jhana, the sign is there. But sign comes before, a sign is a nimitta. If the sign is still there within your visual field, in your meditation, during the 1st jhana, what is the idea? Now, you expand it. You expand it in the whole visual field. Can you imagine that? Think that there's a tiny dot in front of your eyes, or maybe a 50-cent circle. You expand that. You can do that. Through perception, you can expand that, and you can see an entire visual field. You have to do like that. Without practice, very hard, just like magic, no? So do this and see. They're very important. When you come to that level, you have received the teachings. Then you expand it throughout the whole of entire visual field. So this is how you go into the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th and 8 jhanas later on. That is the advice number 1. The advice number 2 is to master or be skillful
in 5 ways of mastery. Pancha Vasi. When you say Vasi, what does it mean? Vasi Guru Kanga. You seduce, isn't it? You seduce somebody. So the same way, you seduce jhana in 5 ways. Okay, very important. When you have the first jhana, you fall in love with that, and you have to keep under control these 5 jhanas. So there are 5 masteries or skills explained in Visuddhi Magga and Patisambhida Magga. First one is Avajjana Vasi. What is Avajjana? What is Avajjana? Everybody who can speak Sinhala knows what is Avajjana. Avarjana can know. Again and again. Here Avajjana means, Avajjana is explained as attaining. Not attaining, adverting and pondering. You go into jhana. No, don't forget this is the first jhana. I said something very contradictory to what I am saying today in my previous talk. I said when somebody is in jhana, there is no way that you can understand the 5 jhana factors. But that's in the 4th jhana. Okay, 4th jhana, because there are no factors, you have nothing to ponder. But the first jhana mastery, you have to gradually ponder. This is vitakka. This is vichara. This is piti. This is sukha. This is ekagata. Up and down. If you can master the skill up and down for any amount of time in your sitting, this is called you have mastered the skill of pondering or adverting. So Buddha had a special miracle called Yamaka Pati Hare, twin miracle. Do you know that? What happens when Buddha does that miracle? Water and fire comes out of your body. So how does he do this? How does he do this kind of a thing? Just imagine. He cannot do anything out of nowhere. Huh? They have been sitting down with a lot of monks, yeah? Not Apo and Tejo Dhatu. He adverts between Apo Kasina and Tejo Kasina. Okay, please understand. Not Dhatu. Dhatu is the involvement. Ultimately, it's Dhatu. But in jhana, in meditation, he quickly adverts between these 2 kasinas. Like this, then water and fire comes out. Only a Buddha can do this. Okay, adverting quickly. The same way, when you have the jhana, when you have the first jhana, if you can advert yourself to all the jhana factors, and you are going to be a master on that particular skill. Samapajjana Vasi. Samapajjana Vasi. Master in attaining. Skillfulness in entering. When you say, what are we going to enter here? Jhana. Now can you drive from home and you come down, okay, within 5 minutes can you go into jhana? For the moment you cannot, but in the future you will be, okay? We'll think like that, we'll be positive, okay? It will happen to you. I wish it will happen to you. So far it has not happened to me. So, anytime, anywhere, wherever you go, you sit down, this moment you go into jhana. Especially when you are dying, it's very important that you be in jhana. Then you can go to a Brahma world. Our idea is not to go to a Brahma world, but rather than going to a Deva world, it's always go. Rather than becoming a secretary, it's going to be a director. Like that. You go further up. Aditthana Vasi. Mastery in resolving. Or skillfulness in holding back. There's a classic example for the second one. When Venerable Moggallana, he is the master in supernatural powers in our the brotherhood. So he can quickly do magic because of his power to attain into jhana and go into
miracles. Yes. Adittanavasi is, now you will see this in a monastery like Pau. Monks, you make a determination. For example, if you have breakfast in the morning, when you go into jhana, because you are lost, you have no sense of idea. You don't keep an alarm. Monks don't keep an alarm to come out of the jhana. So you make a determination. 1 hour I am going to sit down. For 1 hour, let me be in jhana. For Nirodha Samapatti, how many days can you sit at a stretch? 7 days. Like that, in jhana also, you can go up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days if you want to. But hardly I have seen anybody sitting down for more than 48, 72 hours, except that rare case happened in Wat Buddha Dhamma. So monks do sit down for 72 hours at a stretch. So you sit down, you make a determination in, they say you can determine snap of finger, 10 finger snaps. You can make a determination and you can be in that jhana. But we are master in the other way around. Yeah, for the very little thing we can make a determination and come out of jhana. The mind goes away. With 1 finger snap, we are out of it. That is also good. Bhuttanavasi, mastery in emerging or skillfulness in exit. Anytime. Sometimes when you go into jhana, if you don't have, you might wonder why is it, do you have to have a skill? When you go into jhana, you have to come out of it. Do you have to have skill? Yes. Because once you go into a deep concentration, if it is proper jhana, you get lost. Please don't, when somebody who doesn't know me hear all these things, they will think what nonsense I'm talking. You don't get lost in jhana, but you bye Adrian. Then you get because there is no determination, you don't know when you are going to come out. So you make a determination. Exit is also easy. That you have to have the skill in coming out also. So ever in your life have you done this in any meditation? When you come to Sila program, the 10:30 Dana will be there. That is your skillfulness in exiting. Emerging, 7:30 morning you come, 4:30. These are emerging and exiting. But in our practice, we have never been masters of this. Please, now this is Dhamma. These are the things that we need to master. But please understand, at the end of the day, none of these Dhamma was taught to lay people. Yes? Your lay people cannot do this. How can you do this in a setting like this? These were preached for people who have gone into the forest and keeping good, strict Vinaya. But it doesn't mean we cannot do this, because whether let it be a monk who is an ordinary monk, let it be a lay person, the only difference, does monks, they have Raga Dosa Moha? And you have Raga Dosa Moha. What is the difference between us? We try to control it. In the other hand, we are not trying to control it. So where's the secret now? Getting rid of the 5 hindrances. Yes, please understand that. Pachavekkana. Pachavekkana Vasi means mastering, reviewing. So this particular point I had to clarify with my master, whether we are going to review the jhana factors while in samadhi or when we come out of it. But because I didn't know how to review jhana factors, the instructions that I got, you don't have to particularly review on vitakka, vichara, piti, sukha, ekaggata. But whenever you are not pondering on these jhana factors, the rest of the time automatically you are reviewing it. Okay? But if you read a book, there might be explanations here and there. You come out of the jhana and you think about vitakka, vichara, piti, sukha, ekaggata. But what's the point in that? We are doing it right now, isn't it? We are not in jhana, but we are just talking about these things. We are not, please understand, we are not talking about that kind of a review. We are while in jhana, as long as you are not pondering, you are reviewing it. The gap between pondering is called reviewing. Okay, when you attain that, you will understand. So, any questions on that? I thought I will not speak much because last time we discussed that more than 45 minutes into my talk and we will not have time for meditation, so I will stick to 30 minutes. Any questions on this? Now imagine you do your meditation properly, suddenly you go into jhana, then second day you feel piti sukha, you find very happy and calm, and again because of that immense happiness, you want to do this again and again. So you go to the meditation hall, next day, totally out, nothing will happen. That evening you come and talk to the monk and say, with Nitya Sanya now, you want the meditation to go your own way. And say, no, we want this happiness again. There's no liberation now, just to feel their happiness. Okay, why? Then you have to do this again. And good meditation is very rare, even for a master, unless you have these skills. But they are here in the book because that is possible. No magic. Because this can be easily done. So it's a matter of doing it properly. So next day you go, not coming because you have big hopes of going into jhana again. Third day you go, it might not be there. You give up on jhana one day and go and sit again. Then you will again go. Like that, coming, going, coming, going, coming, going. Then you come to a level you can master, like how you walk. How did you all walk soon after birth? No, falling down, standing up, falling down, standing up, like that. Now we cannot progress in Anapanasati Sutta without the next slide, without understanding the next slide. Can we go to the... Yeah. Now we already talked about this. When you are in your first jhana, in relation to Chulla Vedalla Sutta, we discussed that the first jhana has in-breath and out-breath. What is that? Kaya Sankhara. And applied and sustained thoughts? Vachi Sankhara and Chitta Sankhara. Now in the first jhana we have all of these things. Plus we have the 5 Chaitasika. What is the 5 Chaitasika? Vitakka Vichara, Piti Sukha, Ekaggata. And plus we talked about another 33 factors within first jhana. But when you jump into the second jhana, what is going out? Piti Sukha is gone. Piti Sukha is there in the second jhana. Vitakka Vichara gone. So physical, now you will slowly in the second jhana you will lose all sensations, or not all sensations, they will slowly diminishing. Okay, and the second and third jhana, the fourth jhana, what are there? Piti Sukha. Yeah, Sukha is there. Preeti is gone. Vachi Sankhara, totally gone. Kaya Sankhara, totally gone. Chitta Sankhara is remaining. When will you think the Chitta Sankhara will not be there? No, not the fourth jhana. We call it the Nirodha Samapatti. In the Nirodha Samapatti, there will be no any thoughts coming to you. Okay? So if you want to live a thoughtless life, you go into Nirodha Samapatti. When you are trouble, life is giving trouble, you just switch off and go to Nirodha Samapatti for 7 days, you come out but please remember, an ordinary person cannot go to Nirodha Samapatti. You have to be an Arhat to attain Nirodha Samapatti. Not even I don't know, Anagami. These are like, not clear-cut margins. But they say unless you are fully enlightened, you cannot go into Nirodha Samapatti. Aninja, now this is the fourth
and immaterial jhana, we call it Ananja Samadhi. Ananja, have you heard this Ananja before? Huh? Avijja pacchaya sankhara, sankhara pacchaya nama rupam. When you say in Paticca Samuppada, avijja pacchaya sankhara, what are the sankharas? No. You have not studied Paticca Samuppada. Huh? No. No. Avijja pacchaya sankhara, sankhara pacchaya vijnana. I am asking what are the sanskaras that are reason for vijnana? No. It ends with a sankhara. Because this is sankhara. 3 types of sankhara. Oops. Can we have a tissue somewhere? It's okay. A little bit of coffee spilled. If I say punyabhi sankhara, okay. Apunyabhi sankhara, ananjabhi sankhara. See, now when it comes to Paticca Samuppada, it's these 3 sankharas that is giving into vijnana. When you say punyabhi sankhara, what is punyabhi sankhara? All good kusala kammas. Apunyabhi sankhara, akusala kamma. What is ananjabi sankhara? No, not in between. Ananjabi sankhara is the things that you do to attain jhanas. Okay, that's the same term comes here. Now, very important, you study Paticca Samuppada also. One day we will go step by step. 13 links of Paticca Samuppada we will learn after Anapanasati Sutta maybe. Then all these things will come into play, and it's very easy to relate Dhamma from here and there. It's very interesting. Now, some people I have given say when you go into jhana, they will say you will end up in the Brahma world. So, who has gone through Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta? In that sutta, there are 31 planes of existence. Out of that, these are the Brahma worlds that, if you go to first jhana, you have the Mahabrahma, Brahma Purohita, and Brahma Parisajja. 3 Brahma worlds in the first jhana level. Imagine you master meditation. You are a skilled meditation. You are very skilled in attaining jhanas. All your life you maintain jhana. Even at your death, if you have the first jhana, you will be reborn in one of these 3 first jhana plane Brahma worlds. Why there are 3 now? Why there are 3? Because if you master the first jhana up to upachara, you are not that very strong in your jhana, you will go and reborn in Mahabrahma. Okay? Then you are strong in first jhana, you will go and be born in Brahma Purohita, minister. But Paritta, you are very strong, you are very skilled in your first jhana, you will be born in Parisajja, the retinue. This is the only difference. Depending on how skillful you are in your jhana mastery, your place of rebirth will be determined. But then you go into the second jhana plane. You will have Paritaba, Apamanaba, Abhasara. So now I'm also teaching you how to take visas to these places, no? So apply and don't live your life in a very idle way. Buddha is given so many other religions. They say you can go to heaven, you can go here and there, but they don't give clear-cut instructions. Buddha is saying when you go to heaven, he will give you which road to take, which passport to take, which embassy to go, which everything. So how beautiful this Dhamma is. He just don't give like dark places. You will end up and wonder what is there. So he has given answers to every question that we have. So even in your meditation, if you can maintain a little amount of samadhi up to upachara level, and all your life, every morning, think a yogi meditates every morning. And at least he can go to upachara every day. And unless you get into a road traffic accident and you come to natural death, imagine, just after death, where you will be going? Just to a Brahma world, no? So it's very important, practice. Second jhana plane, third jhana plane. So these are all names. If you like a particular place, you can make a tick and go into that level. Fourth jhana plane, Vehappala or gods of great reward. And Asanya Satta. Asanya Satta is a place where you should not be going. And everybody is talking about the Anagamis. The non-returners go to a place called Pancha Suddhavasa. Those 5 places are very important if you can go there. They are not returning because, not simply because they have the knowledge of going forward at this Suddhavasas, because there are a lot of people who has reached Anagami. For example, Pauk Sayad, or the other day we gave you a DVD, he's considered as an Anagami Bhikkhu. Now there's a belief that he's even a fully enlightened being. But if he's truly an Anagami, this is the place where he'll be going with his teaching and all. So Aviha, Atappa, Sudassa, Sudassi, Akanita, if you end up in these places, it's really nice that you don't have to come again to BSV. Yes? Okay. So, any questions? Right time, we can meditate. No questions? Yes, ma'am.
Bhante, when you say Ekagata,
Yeah.
that's the level where all 5 hindrances have ceased.
Yes. That should be when you ultimately Ekagata, the literal meaning of Ekagata is united in one point. So when Samadhi is explained, the ultimate where we go to is Ekagata, like the fourth jhana is Upekka Ekagata. So in the first jhana itself, we don't have 5 hindrances. So ultimately, when you go to the fourth jhana, can we argue and say there is 5 hindrances? No, Ekagata is from a Samadhi point of explanation, state of no way there is going to be 5 hindrances.
So in the first jhana, that is what you mean by Ekagata, where you have lost your 5 hindrances. Would that be correct?
No, wrong. Not only Ekagata. When you say Vitakka Vichara level also, there is no hindrances. These 5 jhana factors will not be there if there are hindrances. Yes, because there are no 5 hindrances, only these jhana factors will be prominent. Hindrances and jhana factors are like oil and water. They don't coexist together. Either it's water, either it's oil. So letting go of 5 hindrances, you always come into 5 jhana factors. In Visuddhimagga, it's clearly explained by ear. Any other question?
So that means that was my first question.
Yeah.
So when you get the nimitta, you have lost all your 5 hindrances anyway.
No, not necessarily. Because nimitta, now when we explain nimitta can be there in the upachara. Okay, in access concentration also, nimitta can be there. And in absorption concentration also, nimitta can be there. Then what's the difference between access and absorption? In access, you always fall into bhavanga. You remember bhavanga? I explained bhavanga. You always, your concentration is not strong. 5 hindrances are not there. That's why nimitta comes. But nimitta is only an indication whether you are going into jhana or not. So, what was your question?
So, and my question was at that level of the nimitta, the 5 hindrances are lost, but you said no.
Yeah. No, 5 hindrances are lost, but when you nimitta alone cannot taken as a indicator whether the 5 hindrances are not there, because when you don't quickly jump into jhana, no? So there is a lot of period that you will fall down. Nimitta is there, but slightly 5 hindrances is there. You cannot go into complete absorption. In both the cases, nimitta should be patibhaga, counterpart sign, and as long as you can maintain in absorption, 100% we can say why hindrances are not there. But access consideration, access, upachara, you are there, you can say 99% there will be no hindrances. But if you are always going into bhavanga and coming out of samadhi, then hindrances are there.
සීලවතෝ භික්ඛවේ සීල සම්පන්නස්සන චේතනාය කරණීයං අවිපටසාරෝ මේ උපජ්ජතුති ධම්මතාය සා භික්ඛවේ යං සීලවතෝ සීල සම්පන්නස්ස අවිපටිසාරෝ උපජ්ජති අවිපටිසාරිස්ස භික්ඛවේන චේතනාය කරණීයං පාමොජ්ජං මේ උපජ්ජතුති ධම්මතා ඒසා භික්ඛවේ යං අවිපටිසාරිස්ස පාමොජ්ජං උපජ්ජති පමුදිතස්ස භික්ඛවේන චේතනාය කරණීයං පීති මේ උපජ්ජතුති ධම්මතා ඒසා භික්ඛවේ යං පමුදිතස්ස පීති උපජ්ජති බීති මනස්ස භික්ඛවේන චේතනාය කරණීයං කායෝ මේ පස්සම්බතුති ධම්මතා ඒසා භික්ඛවේ යං පීති මනස්ස කායෝ පස්සම්බති පසද්ද කායස්ස භික්ඛවේන චේතනාය කරණීයං සුඛං වේදියාමීති ධම්මතා ඒසා භික්ඛවේ යං පසද්ද කායෝ සුඛං වේදියති සුඛිනෝ භික්ඛවේන චේතනාය කරණීයං චිත්තං මේ සමාදියතුති. Welcome this evening. Now we have finished attaining the first jhana, and we have also mastered the first jhana last week. And we told that we are not going to go up from second to fourth or the eighth jhana because there's a personal responsibility from your side rather than studying about jhanas to attain jhanas. So this interesting piece of saying by Lord Buddha is in Anguttara Nikaya. It's in a sutta called Cheto Karaniya Sutta. The important thing in this piece of saying is, I call this the chain reaction of virtue or the chain reaction of samadhi. You know, here it starts from, for the one who is virtuous. For the one who is virtuous, non-remorse arise. Okay, so we are trying to find the importance. Now, for a person who is starting on his spiritual journey, this is where do we start from? We have what is Sila, Samadhi, Panya, or Dana, Sila, Bhavana. Yeah, Kusala, Samatha, Vipassana. Now, this is the way how starting from Sila, starting from your virtue, how it ends up in Samadhi. For the one who is virtuous, non-remorse arises. Now, for the past 3 months, with all the things that we studied together, I don't have to explain a single word in this Gatha. This Pali has been told again and again. For example, Abhipatisara upajjati dhammata esa bhikkave yang silavato siyam. For example, Pamojjang. We studied Pamojja. What is that? When we talked about Piti, we studied Pamojja. So like that, if you think about it, you have not been reading your notes or you have not been studying this, but it's easy if you have followed this 12 weeks. We are coming into our 12th week now. For the past 12 weeks, I have given you notes. I try to maintain 4 notes a day, 4 paper A4 sheets. I counted, I have typed odd 16,000 words for your benefit. Otherwise, I can read and, keep the book aside. But now I ask a question out of those 16,000 words. It's okay, I'm not blaming. If I'm at that 10, I would have been the same, So if you have your sila perfect, that means, is there anything to be happy about? Yes. Then you can be happy that my sila is perfect. Okay, when the sila is perfect, there is naturality joy. When there's joy, your life becomes serene. Then when your life is serene, it ultimately goes into happiness. Then it will go into a concentrated mind. That's the meaning of this gatha. Pamojjang me upajjati. Pamuditassa bhikkavena chetanaya kara piti. Have you studied piti? Yes, Piti we studied, Pamojja we studied, and Piti Manasa Kayo Pasambati. What is the meaning of Pasambati now? Pasambayang Kaya Sankarang. Happiness will go into the relaxation of your body. Yes? Piti Manasa Kayo Pasambati, Pasad Kaya Sabikavena Chetana, Sukhang Vedya Miti. Now Piti, it comes to when your body is in tranquility, Sukha arises. What is Sukha? Happiness. Happiness. Ultimately, when there is happiness of the body and mind, what is there? Chittang me samadhiya tuti. The chitta goes into samadhi. So this is the importance of having your virtue very... there are 7 purifications in Buddhism that ultimately, if you need enlightenment, the first one is Sila Visuddhi. What is the second one? Chitta Visuddhi. What is the third one? Ditti Visuddhi. Like that there are Kankha Vitarana Visuddhi. Like that there are 7. So Sila Visuddhi can be sometimes the most difficult, isn't it? But I believe as you progress, you will understand. So, since we have now finished Samadhi with the Anapanasati Sutta first part, I have summarized, not me, this was not summarized by me, this was summarized by one of my teachers, one of my meditation teachers, the first page in your handout. But ultimately he has also taken from the Visuddhi Magga. So I had to go and I have read the book before. I remember where all these things are, but when it was sent for print, I couldn't include the references. So I later emailed Sarath Mahathya and got the references into the first of all, now when developing Samadhi, now we came into Samadhi, there are 3 very important things that we need to keep in our mind. The first one is, this is a step-by-step process. When we talked about attaining the first jhana, what is the object that we use to attain first jhana? Meditation object. The breath. How many other objects can we use for this? Katina is not the Katina. Kasina. Katina will come at the end of this month. If you can use the Katina, that's okay, fun, no? You are the only one who's making fun in this class. Yeah, I like you. So the Kasina, there are altogether 40 meditation objects where you can use, but only not all of these 40 meditation objects will get you to jhana. Yeah, some of these meditation objects will get you to the access concentration. What is that? The upachara. But most of it, out of these 40, around 35, maybe 30, let's say 30, will take you to upachara. And even within the 30, there are certain meditation techniques that you cannot master as your primary meditation object. For example, the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8 jhanas will only come after the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th jhanas. You cannot directly sit down and expect to attain the 5th jhana, arupa jhanas, straightforwardly. So there are steps for attaining mundane. Why we call this mundane?
As opposed to supramundane.
Supramundane. Because all these jhanas are, as long as you are not enlightened, if you are not enlightened, if you are not a Sotapanna, Sakudagami, Anagami, and an Arihat, if you are going into jhana, this is the steps for attaining mundane jhanas. If you have already reached supramundane level, then the steps might be little bit difficult, but I have not even gone through what are the steps for a supramundane person, because attaining, first of all, you need to attain. Then you have to have the supportive conditions. We call it the sappaya. Then we have to have to develop into jhanas, you have to have, let's call absorption, not jhana, okay? To go into absorption, you have to have a set of necessary skills. From here onwards, now these two, in Visuddhi Magga, these instructions come to us by the word protecting your nimitta. What does it mean by protecting your nimitta? What is the meaning of protecting your sign? Sign is very important. if you have a sign, we need to protect. Now, this Rai Mahatya and Damayanti Nona was not there. Were you here for the nimitta? No, yes. So, during our meditation, the nimitta appears. A light in front of our eyes appears. So, the Visuddhi Magga, we highly emphasize on maintaining that nimitta as long as possible. So, Visuddhi Magga gives instructions on maintaining that. That's why this set of advice comes to you. So, let's look at the steps of Samadhi. Okay, for example, now, you all are beginners. Let's say we all are beginners. This is the step-by-step approach. This is the ladder that we need to climb to attain jhana, to attain absorption. But now this is a retrospective thing because we have already attained the jhana through anapanasati. But this is like a summary now. I am explaining the summary. First of all, sila, or are we in the correct slide? Yeah, okay. If you want the references, please write down. If you want to one day, if you want to refer Visuddhi Magga, what I am giving you, everything can be found in Visuddhi Magga. Okay? So, if you want it, otherwise, if you believe my word, don't have to write. First of all, now how many precepts are you keeping? Are you perfectly keeping it? Yeah, very good. Yes, that's not a personal question. You don't have to answer. But please understand, I told you this absorption, the samadhi was not given to lay people like you all. It was given to recluse, forest dwelling, renounced monks. So personally, I don't know how from 5 precepts you can go up to the level of samadhi. But please understand, when the Visuddhi Magga is mentioning sila here, it is the sila that was prescribed for monks. The 227 training rules for a monk, here what is mentioning. But if you are thinking about your sila, when it comes to Visuddhi Magga, it still explains. The commentary likes to explain, even for a layperson, the first full chapter, the first chapter on Visuddhi Magga is Sila Nirdesa. A huge set of, how many pages are there? From say 57, 161. Yeah. So many pages in the book explaining what is Sila, how you should be keeping it, how you should be purifying it. So the Sila should be perfect. Second one is get 10 impediments. What is impediments in Pali? Impediments are called palibodha. These are stumbling blocks in your way, in your path. We have already studied this now. Okay, I still have the note. Like the same note, this is the note that I gave last year. Madam Champika might have this because she was a participant in my last year. All these was we have studied that. So you need to get to know impediments. There are 10 such impediments. Okay, I am not going to talk about that right now because we have already studied. Get to know the 10 impediments. The third one, receive instructions from a qualified teacher. Now, if you ask me whether I am a qualified teacher, according to Visuddhi Magga, yes, I am a qualified teacher. But if you ask whether I am a meditation master, honestly, I am not a meditation master. I don't know to what extent I can take you in your journey, but to some extent, I can guide you. I have given the authority also to guide other people from my meditation institution. But what is the qualities of a qualified master? In Visuddhi Magga explains, the first one is Lord Buddha. He is not around. So after that, an Arahant, an Anagami, a Sakodagami, a Sotapanna. If they are not around, at least a layperson who has attained a jhana. Okay. After that, somebody who's well versed in the 3 baskets, the Tripitaka, or somebody who's well versed in the the Pali canon, like that. In that way, I can be a qualified master, but ultimately, if the ideal master to have is somebody who has done, now for example, if you take Pauk Sayadaw, he has read the book and he has practiced for 30 years alone before coming out of the forest and preaching this. So in that way, he is a meditation master. That's why he is given the Agamaha Kamattanacharya. Okay, so it's very important. Receiving instructions from a qualified teacher is very important. Abandoned places not suitable for development of Samadhi. Now in Visuddhimagga, they give 18 falls of a monastery. Now these instructions don't come for lay people, please understand, although we study. In Visuddhimagga, there are no instructions. Your house will be one-storied building with 2 rooms and no attached bathroom. No, like that. This is the qualities of a monastery giving. But if you read and understand, still when you are planning your next house, you can build it like a monastery if you want to. Or you can have a separate room and make it a monastery by putting away things out. So there are 18 falls of a monastery. That is what is mentioned here. Finding places suitable for the development of Samadhi, it is mentioned there are 5 such qualities. That is also in Visuddhimagga, which we are not going to learn because these qualities are within a monastery. It's close by a village. There should be a path, easy access to food. When the instruction comes to a monk, easy access to food, what does it mean for a lay person? Now you have to translate this according to your needs. You know, when the instruction comes for a monk, easy access to food, what does it mean for you? Moderate eating, but before eating, who's going to cook for you? When you are supplying your own food, don't make it a big thing, you know. That's, we monks are not cooking, not because it's not a big crime for us to cook. Because if all the monks get together, cut onions and, even without work, we monks get together and talk a lot of useless things. So that's why cooking is not allowed. For you guys, if you start cooking and practicing, it's going to be a disturbance. So translate, I don't know, how do you say, transliterate? No. Put this into your background, your necessities and needs, okay? Finding places suitable for the development of Samadhi. Now, do you have such a place? You can create in your house if you want to, okay? Minor impediments should be eradicated. Now, there are 10 major impediments and there are also 5 lesser impediments. The 5 lesser impediments usually only comes for a monk. In those 5, it is explained: maintaining your hair and your beard short, take little time to wash your robes, take little time to attend to your begging bowl, things like that. And the 7, follow every instruction under one's meditation object, method, technique. When it comes to Visuddhimagga, it is explained, have you heard the temperaments? What is temperaments in Sinhalese? Now, in this part, my last meditation class, I gave a teaching and I wrote an article to the paper. Unfortunately, it was written in Sinhala. I thought I have written many articles in English, so I wrote this in Sinhala. So for the Sinhala understanding people, I can give this away, what temperaments are, but it is your personality. Usually those days, when a person comes for meditation, normally, okay, you do Anapanasati, you do Metta Bhavana, not like that. We will have a long discussion to see what kind of a person you are. Not even a meditation object was not given for first few days. They say, okay, you can stay in the monastery for 15-30 days. We'll see how you are behaving. And the master observes how he is walking, how he is eating, how he is sleeping, how he is sweeping. Then decides the meditation object. So the meditation is so popular nowadays. You come with your meditation object and take instructions from us. Isn't it? You come and sit down and say, Bhante, my meditation is Metta Bhavana. My meditation is Anapanasati. Please give me instructions. Everything is reverse. That's why none of us are progressing. So please understand, this is a time-tested thing for 2,600 years now. Samadhi has been there for the past 5,000 years. When Buddha is giving these things, we have to see to what extent are we following. That's why everybody complains, Bhante, you say we are not going to Samadhi. Because we all are not doing it the right way. Think. Okay? So read the temperaments. I have given references. I have taught this in my previous class. You were not there. Let's go to the next slide. Now, supportive conditions. Sappaya. Sappaya are the things that are supportive for your progress development. The first one is Sappaya Avasa. Suitable dwelling. In general, Buddha says Aranyagatoa, Shunyagara-gatoa, Rukkamula-gatoa, an empty house. What is Rukkamula-gatoa? Under a tree, and Aranyagatoa in a monastery. All these things are highly described in the book. Even under a tree, not every tree. The tree should be isolated, and the tree should be not next to a main road where people will look at you. Things like that. When it comes to all these 7 instructions here in Visuddhimagga, it is explained to find out whether a certain kuti is suitable for you, a certain room is suitable for you. You at least stay there for 3 days and see whether your samadhi is developing. 3-day allowance is there for everybody. So ideally, if a monastery is there, I can demand to stay in all the rooms and see. Like if you go to a hotel, you can demand all the hotel rooms and say, I have the allowance for 3 days, I would like to stay there. In a monastery, but not in a hotel. You can stay if you are paying. So, Sappaya Avasa, suitable dwelling. There are no such special instructions given in the book as to how the room should be built. But the only instruction given in the book is to see in that particular room, in particular house, whether you can go into Samadhi. Okay, Sappaya Gochara, suitable environment or nature. And now there is also no instruction in the book saying that you should be meditating during winter, you should be meditating during summer, you should be meditating during autumn. In the book it is said for certain people, for example, hay fever, penis, hay fever people will not be able to, will go through a lot of allergies when it's spring. Yes, like according to your condition, see what season is the most suitable for you to develop Samadhi. 3-day allowance is also there. You can go more than 3 days in this case, but I just remembered, like for all these things, 3-day allowance is there. You can check for yourself whether my meditation is good in any of these situations. Sappaya Kata. Yesterday I was teaching children. Yes, allowable speech. Now this is very important. When you go through Tripitaka, Buddha is telling again and again and again and again. If you want to progress in your path, what type of people you associate, how you speak with them is very important. So what are the 10 allowable speech? How many non-allowable speech are there? 32. Yeah, 32. So if we know the allowable 10, it's easy to forget all the unallowable 32. There is Rajakata, Chora Kata. You cannot switch on a TV with all these things. Honestly. Yeah. So that's why most of these yogis' houses, they don't have TVs. But some of the masters also now on Facebook. Okay. Okay. Don't want to go there. So do you know the allowable speech? Do you want me to go? Yeah? But it will take time. Don't complain now. After coming here, we will not be meditating for 45 minutes. Okay. The first one is Appichakata. Talks on being frugal. When you get together, how many of you speak about being simple? The second one is Santuttikata. Talk with a happy mind. Don't get gloomy and Arnold is not here today. He was asking me, Bhante, I have been to so many monasteries, but I have never seen a monk like you who's laughing all the time. Sometimes you get gloomy and depressed, So the third one is talking in a Asansagakata will come. Yeah. Third one is paviveka kata. Paviveka kata means you talk about relaxation. You talk about getting rid of your stress. When you get together in a monastery, these are the things that you need to talk. If you are stressful, if you are not happy, if you are not finding frugal, if a monk has a lot of things, you get together, talk and say, with all your robes, you are washing them every other day. How can you do meditation? So that's the importance of these things. Not to talk in groups, asansagga kata. A motivational speech, viryarambha kata. Benefits of being good, sila kata, samadhi kata, panya kata, then vimukti kata, and the last one is, do you need explanation? Yeah. Then the last one is vimukti jnana darshana kata, means always talk about something, some theory, some dhamma that will give you liberation. These are the 10 types of talks allowed in a monastery. If you go to Pau and if you start joking, you cannot survive there, because monks don't like all this nonsense. Because the monks also have a very limited set of vocabulary. It's very hard to go out of that frame and structure, because everybody is seriously practicing. And you cannot simply joke in a monastery like that. But it doesn't mean you don't have to be happy. There are other ways to find happiness. What is the most easiest way to find happiness in a monastery? Meditation. Piti sukha. Okay, these are the 10 allowable talks. Sappaya ahara. Now in PAOK, there's a dietary system. The food is given to monks and nuns well balanced. So like in the Sri Lankan Ayurveda system, for example, the wind element, the phlegm element, and what is pitta? The bile element. Now balancing all these elements, they will make a diet. So there won't be any food items that might agitate you, like coffee and things like, that will harm your meditation method. So it's very important what food you take. When you're doing your meditation, you will be very sensitive to your food. Even because in a monastery, everything happens to a timetable. Even when you are going to sleep at 9 o'clock, definitely you will go to sleep at 9 o'clock. Suddenly out of the rhythm, if you stay 15 minutes later, then you are bound to reflect where it went wrong. Did I walk fast? Did I eat something wrong? Did something went in my meditation? To that level, you will get sensitive in your practice. So it's very important. So here the thing is, there is no special dietary requirement, just to be sensitive to what you eat. If certain amount of food, certain type of food is not helping you to attain samadhi, avoid it. Sappaya ritu. Again, the seasons, like I said, spring, summer, autumn, winter is the environment there is basically not the seasons, the first one. The environment is your surrounding. And sappaya iriyapata, suitable posture. That is also very important. Most of you, we would like to sit down like this and do meditation. But Buddha is giving 3 other postures for us to do our meditation. What are the other postures? Lying down, walking, standing up, and sitting. But we always want to sit down and do, because it's the easiest. But for me, it's lying down is the easiest. Okay? So practice. No, honestly, if you lying down, no. Anapanasati can do only with Ujjunkaya. But Vipassana can do. Other things you can do, Asubha can do. But to what extent you can go to Samadhi is another question. But why the lying down posture mentioned? Because you can use your lying down time for meditation also. If that point is taken out, then that will be a time for monks to sleep comfortably. So even while you're on bed, lying down on your left side, you can do your meditation. These are the sappaya, supportive conditions. This comes under protecting your nimitta. For those who have already come up with nimitta in your meditation, it's very important to remember these things. Okay? And these skills necessary for the development of absorption, concentration, comes in one. Yeah. Sappaya Puggala, was there a Sappaya Puggala? Yeah, sorry, did I miss that? Yes, Sappaya Puggala. Now, Sappaya Puggala means
In the book it says, the people who's with the same intention. You want to do meditation, but if you have a group of friends, going to all the time in a coffee morning thing, going out, then it will not happen, because conflict of interest. So in a monastery it's easy. Everybody is aimed at attaining jhana, samadhi, but sappaya puggala means those who have good sila, those who have good verbal conduct, and those who have the same aim as all of us, having good meditation. That is sappaya puggala. Thank you. I was going to miss that, because I have put all the references in my note. I cannot see. Okay, this is also very important. We have already discussed this in last year. Skills necessary for the development of absorption. Very important. Be pure and clean internally and externally. How can you purify yourself internally?
Meditating.
Yeah, but that's one way. Huh? Yeah, for you all, it's 5 precepts. Keep the sila very clean. That is one way. So that is also very important, now I'm not talking about, sorry, I'm coming up with the word Westerners, not you people, but in the Western world, people can come and sit down and do their meditation, but they might not have an idea about sila, no? Maybe they might not have an idea about 5 precepts. So to what extent they can progress, I don't know. But these are time tested, and it's very important. If you go, meditation can be done, half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours, you can sit down and you are far away from your worldly troubles for that 1 hour. It's like going to a spa. But if you are a serious meditator, please take these instructions. I don't mind you going, put this in your table or somewhere that you can always see. If you don't have these things, don't expect to progress your meditation into the level of absorption, samadhi. Okay, this is all for absorption. Balance faculties. Last year we studied with Meghiya Sutta. What are our faculties? Shraddha, Virya, Sati, Samadhi, Prajna. Now Shraddha we will study a little bit later. Faith is very important. You have to all this in balance. If you have more Shraddha, those people who have more Shraddha, what are they lacking? They lack Panya, in Sri Lanka, all these meditators, even, they, for Hildani, they go and keep this Bittarap and all on Buddha's hand. Then the Saddha is there, but no Panya. That's why all these things should be balanced. Those people who have a lot of virya, effort is there. They don't want to do it one way or another. They think the meditation is something that you can bribe yourself, and people will come and say, Bhante, I'm addicted to meditation. Then I ask, what kind of how are you addicted? I know Samadhi, but I try to do this again and again and again and again and again. Oh my God, listening to these people, I get stressed. So you cannot do this. You have to balance everything. We call it Tatra Majjatata. We studied how to balance all this. We studied, but I have put references. If you want to read, you can read Visuddhimagga. The English is complicated, but still you can read. Skill in Nimitta. Now this is very important. For those who are skilled in their sign Nimitta, can maintain Samadhi for all their life. The skill in Nimitta here means these instructions are very important for everybody who still has not come up with Nimitta, and for those who have Nimitta, to maintain that Nimitta, and for those who are having Nimitta also to master that Nimitta in their lives. So skill in Nimitta is very important. Okay, our idea is to try to get the Nimitta somehow. Calming the mind when agitated. Sometimes when you go for meditation, something is wrong. You don't know what, because especially in a monastery, our life is monotonous. There's nothing much we can get agitated to unless we see a ghost or a snake in the forest. But still, you might have a lot of things, you might have a lot of things in your agenda, daily life, When you go for meditation, nothing comes to your mind. That thing is ringing in your head. No, I cannot do. I am anxiety, frustration, these things will come. So you have to have a set of techniques how to suppress these agitations and calm your mind. Skill in effort. Gladdening the mind, motivating the mind when necessary. Okay. So like even before going, when we studied Sampajanya, like sitting down is the hardest part in meditation, they say. Yeah. Sitting, not all this nimitta and samadhi. That's not the hardest part in meditation. Sitting down for it. Do you agree? Yeah? No? Oh, yeah. No, you don't agree. That's good. Now that means you are serious meditators. Some people don't want to do meditation, but they cannot. They කියන්නේ ඉඳ ගන්න බෑ හාමුදුරනේ. ඉඳ ගන්න වෙලාවක් නැහැ. Okay. But they can sit on the commode and the car and everywhere they can go and sit. Okay. Calming effort, balancing effort. Calming the mind when agitated. Gladdening the mind when needs to be gladdened. Sometimes you get depressed, sometimes, nothing goes right, religious, the holy life is also sometimes very gloomy in a forest. So needs motivation, so need some gladness. So always we are advised to look at Buddha's life, look at Dhamma, and look at our masters' lives and take motivation. A lot of there was this young monk with me in Sri Lanka. We spent few nights in Dulukandaran in a cave, and he was a serious practitioner, very younger to me, not very young. So he take lot of inspiration from other masters. So he have heard about Ajahn Chah, but he has never seen or not even a book he has read. But people talking about Ajahn Chah, he was so happy. Because I have a laptop, I showed a clip of Ajahn Chah. This monk started crying, So that happiness has come, to him, that I have seen Ajahn Chah right now. So I still remember. I said, okay, don't cry. And okay, keep meditating. Maintaining equanimity of mind, ultimately balancing the mind. Now all these 4, 5, 6, 7. All these 4, 5, 6, 7, if you look clearly on these 4 things, it's about you knowing your own mind. Yeah, because when you are sad, when you are happy, when you are agitated, when you are in depression, Getting to know your own mind is also going to be helpful in going into absorption. That's why this is, in other words, that's what is being mentioned here. Abandoning harmful friendships. That's why people, when they go into serious practice, they say, Bhante, I don't meet my old friends anymore because I cannot keep up with their parties and, I cannot socialize in a way. So either they will drop friends or they have to seriously take up their associations. So abandoning harmful friends is very important. Association of right friends. Right friends would be the people with same aims and mission, to achieve something out of this human life. Last one is respecting, acknowledging Samadhi in all postures. It's very important that not only you develop your Samadhi in one single posture. How do you know whether you will die sitting down? Most of us die during in a hospital bed. So make sure that you have a good Samadhi while you are lying down also. Some people drop dead while walking. So it's very important that you maintain Samadhi while you are walking. So what is other posture? Sitting. The monks usually die sitting. Like meditation monks usually die sitting when the time is coming, they know. So they ask, I have not gone through a situation like this, is what is recorded in the books and the videos. So they ask other monks to lift them up. So they lift the monk up. And if the monk is very good in Samadhi, he will die in a sitting position.
But if you have mastered your Samadhi in a lying down position, no problem. So how many altogether that you need to remember? So when you say you are a meditation, you are a yogi, you want to do meditation, please see whether you have these components in your day-to-day life. I'm going to make another 20-point spiritual instructions. I'm composing it right now. For those who cannot be serious like this, I will give another second set of instructions which has 20, but it will work. I am adopting this from Hindu yogis. When I went to the Himalayas, they follow that 20, but it is very effective. But please understand, this is if Buddha is saying something, that is the most useful. But that 20 that I am going to make will keep you on track. Okay? If you cannot do this, at least it will keep you on track. You can call yourself a spiritual person, and people ask how to do retreats when you are at home. That 20 spiritual points will give you an opportunity to do the retreat while you are living. Okay, I will soon do that, and first of all I have to get a patent under that 20 instruction thing. Then I will give it to you. Okay, in Dhamma, it is explained there are 4 ways that you are going to progress into Samadhi. What are those 4? The hard way with slow progression, the hard way with fast progression, the easy way with slow progression, the easy way with fast progression. So who got into liberation with easy way with fast progression? Venerable Sariputta. It was very easy for him to get enlightened. Who got with the hard way? Venerable Moggallana. No? So, but even with hardships, he got the supernatural powers. Yeah. So now we have to look why this is happening. So if you are not progressing, the details in this section is very important. Reasons for Sukha Patipada, or the easy way. So in your life, if you get enough supportive conditions, what can you, not having children, is it a blessing in your life? Huh? You have children, you cannot call that. Huh? Some people say, are you Bhante, no kids, and a lot of prejudice from parents, and we are trying this thing, that thing, and IVF, and give us blessing for a child. Now, how after reading all this, how can I give a blessing for a child? Huh? Okay, to be blessed with supportive conditions. Huh? Those people who doesn't have kids, although they are not practicing. So these are the things in life, ultimately for some karma, they say there is bad karma if you don't have children. But please don't forget, idea is not to have children or not, whether you have or not. Using your time as much as possible to create an environment. This is not about kids, otherwise you will take it the wrong way, and you'll come up with some political point and say, Bhante, that your talk was wrong. No, please understand, you are wise than me. Laid back life, very few hindrances. Some people are naturally they don't have much vyapada, anger, they don't have much lust. I have seen people, especially these young monks who come into the order, because they don't have these things, they ultimately end up in the order. So when they come to the order also, they are very serene, quiet, calm. There's nothing much training to be given. They are ultimately very peaceful. So this is called the samsaric practice, no? So less attachment. Naturally, some people they are not hoarding stuff, wealth, money. No, this is enough. I am very frugal. I don't want so many things. Long-term practice. No, if you have practice meditation in your samsara, you can have quick progression. Now, what is the learn that we are going to learn from this? If you are not developing right now, that means you have not practiced in the past. So you do it right now. Okay, so you will have a quick progression in the future probably. And not interested in sensual pleasures. If you are not interested in all these flamboyant things in life, watching TV, going for movies, that is also, all these are supportive conditions. Reasons for slow progression. those who are not developing skills. Now you know the set of skills, all these things that we learned before, you have to put into practice. Without putting into practice all these things, don't expect to progress. You will have a little bit of samadhi, but it will, I don't know whether you will reach access concentration or absorption concentration. Low level of saddha. You have to have faith also. So this is a very important when you say faithfulness, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have faith towards Buddhism. Buddha Dhamma Sangha, you have to have faith towards your practice. But to learn from Buddhism, you have to have faith, isn't it? So especially Westerners, they need to build the faculty of faith if they want to progress into absorption. So those who doesn't have faith, it will not work out. Because especially when Venerable Rahula, being Buddha's son, he was ordained at the age of 7, but he couldn't get enlightened until he was 20. Yes. So Buddha gave all these years this instruction, that instruction. I read around more than, I can surely say more than 40 suttas given to Venerable Rahula in the book. Rahula Samyukta alone has 40 suttas. So more than 80, maybe 121 suttas given to Venerable Rahula. Only when the faculties, Indriya Dhammas, were matured, he managed to break through at the age of 20. He was given the right Kammatthana at the age of 18. After 2 years, he managed. So like that, these faculties are very important. So reasons for Kippa Binya, fast progression. When we talk about Anapanasati Sutta, one benefit of Anapanasati Sutta is if you don't manage to get enlightened within this lifetime, in a future Buddha's time, having listened to a very short sermon, you will get enlightened because you have practiced so much in the... people ask how this Bahiya got enlightened, how this and that person come to Buddha and get enlightened, because they were all practicing throughout. A non-practitioner would not come to Buddha and ask questions, no? Look at the questions that Bahiya asked, like that. So those who had the necessary qualities and who wanted to do, who could be enlightened, Buddha had to go to them and do a certain amount of tricks to get it done. So I have explained all these things. I have explained in the paper. I don't have to explain these things to you right now. Please go home and read. So from today onwards, now we have done Anapanasati, we have done Kayanupassana. Okay? From today onwards, if you want to be a serious practitioner, please adopt these instructions into your day-to-day life. Just without doing anything, coming here and sitting down and listening 45 minutes, sleeping 30 minutes will not work. Okay? So there's a nice saying by Ajahn Fuang. I took this from Ajahn Thanissaro. They say Ajahn Fuang once said that meditators tend to be like little puppies. Okay, they go out and defecate and they come running to their mothers to have their mothers to lick them off. Puppies are like that, no? They poop and come back. Mothers lick them off. They haven't learned how to lick themselves off yet. So as a meditator, you need to learn how to lick yourself off. If things don't go well, learn how to pick up yourself, dust yourself off, and then figure out what went wrong. Take responsibility for your meditation. Take responsibility for your insights. This is what the Buddha did. This is what every meditator has to do. If you go to a teacher saying you have had a certain experience, and the teacher identify it as a level of jhana or a level of insight, can you be sure? Yeah. Most of the meditators, like masters also, they are not doing meditation, honestly. Then if you honestly come up with jhana, and if the teacher has truly can identify, okay, this is the situation that you are in, there will be a good interpretation. But Ajahn Fuang is giving all of us good instruction how to rely on ourselves.
and teacher identifies at a level of jhana or level of insight. So those judgments over somebody else, can you trust your master even, or do you want to learn how to judge things on your own so that you can trust yourself? If you let the other people do judging, there's always going to be an element of doubt. Do they know what they are saying? At the same time, you are absolving yourself of any responsibility. Discrimination becomes their duty and not yours. That's not a good attitude for a meditator to take. You've got to learn to look, to try few things. Okay? Do you understand the message here? It doesn't mean that you should be doing meditation without a master. But you should not be going to the master for each and everything. I remember reading Nelson Mandela's biography. He mentions with the... sometimes it's very difficult, So he writes in his biography, in Africa, South Africa, those days, the black young children, we didn't ask anything from our parents. It was more of a trial, everything. You do something, it's a mistake. If you ask something from their parents, Nelson Mandela is saying, we never used to ask when we were growing up. But he put a little racial remark there. But all the white kids at school, Mommy, what is this? Daddy, what is this? So many questions. Okay, this was in the book. Don't take me wrong, not me. He's dead and gone. You cannot accuse him anymore. Anyways, so any questions? Any questions? Our next 4 days, we are going into Vedana. Okay? Vedana Anupassana, Kaya Anupassana finish. First day we will have a basic starting from, because Vedana, Chitta Anupassana, Dhamma Anupassana are very deep subjects. You have to have a lot of knowledge into meditation to understand that. So I will start with the very basics, introduction to Vedana. Then because we are in Anapanasati Sutta, we will go through the Anapanasati Sutta instructions on Vedana Anupassana. Then there is Vedana Anupassana in Mahasatipatthana Sutta. We will bridge that. So we will study all Vedana Anupassana. Then we will, last day, we will look at Rupa, Arupa. Arupa means material and immaterial types of Vedana. Okay? This is how the next 4 days are structured. And after that, we will all be going into a break for 1 month. And you need to do your meditation properly. Then we come back in January. We'll be starting with Chittanupassana and Dhammanupassana. When we finish Chittanupassana, Dhammanupassana in the Sutta, we will start all the 7 Bojjhanga Dhammas. Then we will have something to talk about. Yes? Okay. Let's do... Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay. So I hope when you go back, because we talk a little bit more, we don't get to meditate for 1 hour. But I also don't like this program to run as just another meditation sitting, without knowledge. This all will benefit. You might complain about this right now. In the long run, all this accumulation of wisdom, Dhamma, the little practice that we do is going to be beneficial when we look at the whole picture, of samsara. So still, when you come here, not only listening to me, it's very important you try to understand these things, So I'm happy. I don't complain about me myself writing notes for like 16,000 words. I'm very happy to share this Dhamma, because at the end of the day, we all are looking for happiness, trying to get out of this. So we do this as an effort to find happiness, liberation in practicing Lord Buddha's Dhamma. So not only monks, lay people, during all these 12 weeks, I was trying to give the message. The idea was not for lay people, but how to do this as lay people, isn't it? I try to generalize everything, not something as not just directly telling this is possible for you all, but not mentioning about the fact that it was given for monks and recluses, but I was trying to interpret Dhamma in a way that you can practically associate with your day-to-day life. So since we are completing our 3-month milestone, isn't it? So continuously every weekend I was here for this without any disruption. Thanks for all the volunteers who brought me here and took me back, and thanks to the BSV volunteers who initiated this meditation program, Shampika and Sarad Mahatya. This whole thing I never asked, those days I just used to say something and everybody used to, okay, that's it. But nowadays you get visual, feedback, you can see and understand these things. So please remember all these people in your sharing of merits, because these 30 minutes, this 2 hours will accumulate so much amount of merits, because all practice, not Tamisa Puja, no? Pratipatti Puja, we are trying to do something. While let's say if you take 1 million practicing people out, still there will be 6 billion 0.9 people who's not doing this. So we will generate enormous amount of kusala. That's not going to be beneficial for me, but for you all. We are packing our luggage. When we are going to die, that luggage we are packing now. Kusala Kamma. So thank you very much. I want to mention, other than the volunteers, people who are coming, participating. Without participation also, there won't be I can't be preaching to empty hall. Yes. So participation is also very important. And for the offering, especially Josephine, she used to give me my energy after a busy week of, is she around? Oh yeah, there, she's there. After a very busy weekend, this carrot juice is the one that keeps me going for the next whole week, to be honest. And on the way I might get a coffee, and she prepares another pepper juice for me now. And I was recently offered, a lot of people bring a lot of things that are going to be definitely beneficial. And especially volunteers who's taking me with food. And recently I got offered a new pair of glasses, which now I can, with my previous glasses also I can read, but this will also help for me to read Dhamma and bring that Dhamma to you, because my eyes are weak. So thank you for that also. And what else? Like Buddha said, rather than offering things through practice, you offer your master. I'm not saying that I'm your master, but still Lord Buddha is our master. So please try to practice as much as possible. Time is very little. And when you study these things systematically, it's not a big thing, So it's just arranging, everything tactically and carrying on with your practice. At the end of the day, when you are about to die, and if you have not attained anything, that's okay. But we have lived a practicing life, isn't it? It's going to be very beneficial in your future lives. So no regrets. So that's the most important thing. Living in a way that you are not going to regret. Pamojjang, looking back, your virtue helps. For a monk, it's always the virtue, We are living in a world that every man and woman gets together and do something. But we monks, we live in the happiness of brahmacharya, not to do anything, and that's brings enormous happiness, So like that, I'm going to make a 20-point spiritual important list that you need to maintain every day if possible. When it comes out, I think it will be very beneficial. Try to adopt that rather than this one is for a very serious practitioner. Unless you are in a forest monastery, it's very difficult to adopt this in your day-to-day life. But still, you can do something about it.